Louisville seeking a 10th win and trying to get closer to the BCS, taking on the Pitt Panthers, who are 6-5 and have lost 4 in a row. Now there has already been movement in the Big East today. Rutgers has won. Louisville, you see their position. West Virginia lost to South Florida. They need a ton of help to have any chance of winning the conference. And there you see Dave Wanstead's Pitt Panthers at 2-4. We welcome you to Pittsburgh. I'm Dave Lamont, along with Ray Bentley. Vince Welch will join us shortly. We, by the way, want to thank you for taking some time out of your family time to enjoy this football game today. We're excited about it, Ray, because we think offense is going to be on display. We've got guys we are very confident are going to make the next level.
Yeah, and we'll start with Pittsburgh. Their quarterback, Tyler Palko, is having an outstanding year. He is vastly improved in terms of managing the football game. They tell him throw it to the open guy or throw it away. He had a problem with that. Always tried to make something special happen. Now he has become more disciplined in getting the ball to these two outstanding receivers. Kinder, a big play guy, can go up and get any football, and then Hoderick Turner is a guy that can just be steady, make runs after the catch, and use his big body to get things done.
It's no surprise that Louisville has an explosive offense. They always do under Bobby Petrino, and this bunch captained by a guy who just looks like a Sunday quarterback.
Yeah, Brian Brom is outstanding. He is healthy now, recovered from that thumb injury. He's got the zip back on the ball. He's your prototype, sit back in the pocket and pick him apart kind of guy. And then Harry Douglas is his favorite receiver, the leading Big East receiver in terms of yards, and he is a guy that can do it running after the catch. And then Mario Urrutia is their big play guy. He's got an opportunity to take it all the way every time he gets his hands on the football.
Now, there are always the factors we look for in every football game: offense, defense, special teams. I mean, you factor in emotion today, but there is a fifth factor that's going to be huge. And earlier we caught up with Vince Welch, who's going to explain the field.
Normally, when talking about home field advantage, you're discussing that a little extra bit of energy that the home team gets from the enthusiasm of the fans. But today, it could literally be a home field advantage. There were 4 high school football games played on this surface last night, and earlier today, the grounds crew was out trying to cover up some of the dirt areas, particularly between the hash marks, and it literally is just a dirt area. And as you can see, there's a little bit of green cover, but it's nothing more than dirt here between the hash marks. The field can get slippery at this area of the surface as well. And Ray Bentley, I know that you believe that could play into the hands of the Pitt Panthers.
Well, it could be a big factor because the Louisville team is built around speed. And when you have a questionable surface, slippery, muddy, or whatever it is, then the slower team has the advantage. In Pittsburgh's defense, they're mudders. They're a little slower. And I'm an old mudder myself, and I can tell you that may help them out a lot today, Dave.
Well, so we'll see about this home field advantage as Senior Day being celebrated by the Pitt fans and quarterback Tyler Palko. Getting a lot of love from a good crowd here at Heinz Field in downtown Pittsburgh. Now we'll see what he does in the game next on ESPN's College Football.
ESPN's
6 miles from where the Pitt football facility is, and Bobby Petrino at Louisville, 38-9 career record, and on the road 17-8.
Well, and I was very impressed in talking with Dave Wanstead. He's got a good plan in place here to try and revitalize this Pitt Panther program, and he's just a bundle of excitement. You wonder, where's his mind at? Had been in the NFL, now in college football. He's as excited as he's ever been in terms of turning this program around.
Well, I'm not sure, Ray, that any other college program would have suited Dave Wanstead so soon after his NFL situation ran out on him. But when he talked to us the other day, we were sitting in a room that used to be a steel mill where he and his father worked. I mean, that's how tied in he is to this area.
Yeah, and he says it really helps him in terms of recruiting and just knowing everybody in this area. And if there's a good football player in Western Pennsylvania, Dave Wanstead expects to get him on his team.
Well, we mentioned special teams for these teams. Both of them have the ability to take it to the house. Jawan Spillman, number 26, is a guy certainly worth watching, and Trent Guy is back there also. He does punt returns as well. Well, take note of this, everybody. Now, Louisville is going to get the ball first, but Dave Wanstead promised us yesterday that Tyler Palko will not get sacked in the first quarter. So file that away. When Pitt gets the ball, we'll see if that holds up. Louisville's got a good defense, by the way. Gressel with a kick. And I'll say the heck with that and let it go for the touchback. Will bring out the Louisville Cardinals offense, and it's one of the best in the country. Brian Brom, the junior from Louisville, Kentucky. 15-3 as a starter. Number 6 all-time total offense in this school's history. Big East Player of the Year last year.
And fulfilling a dream, Dave. You know, he was back, grew up in the Louisville area and had a chance to go to a lot of other different programs, but at the age of 12 had a dream that Louisville could be prominent in the national picture in terms of a national championship, and here he is, you know, getting close to living that dream.
They start the game with Stripling as the tailback. He'll get the first carry, and Pitt's defense will smother him for a loss. And there is H.B. Blades in there for Pitt. Nivea for Men brings us the Louisville starting lineups, and we like to highlight the offensive line a lot of the times, and you found one guy in particular you're really fond of.
Yeah, and that's the center, Eric Wood, who I think is an outstanding football player. He makes the calls up there. They'll pull him on toss sweeps. He's the guy that really, even though he's just a sophomore, makes all the calls and is the leader of that group up front.
This is his 23rd straight start. Looking all the way toward Arrutia, who made the catch, used his hands that time, I thought, very successfully. Kennard Cox, the quarterback, on the stop, threw him out of bounds, bring up third down after a 7-yard gain. Louisville on defense, and Ray, this is kind of an underrated unit, isn't it?
Yeah, actually, the Pittsburgh defense we're looking at.
Pittsburgh, you're right.
And you look at that defensive line, Dave, and that's where they have to really play well today. They've had a couple of injuries, so they've got younger guys that'll come in and fill in some of those spots. They need to hold that line up front and allow some of the faster guys to run to the football.
Third down, they need about 4. Colby Smith now into the tailback slot. Pressure up the middle, and it won't work. And on the coverage again, H.B. Blades, the outstanding senior linebacker from Plantation, Florida. A lot of Florida influence on this Pitt Panther team.
And we talked to Paul Rhodes, the defensive coordinator for Pitt, and he said that Blades is a guy who really understands where he fits in terms of underneath coverage. And you're going to see where he fits. He's going to fit right there on Arrutia and knock that ball away, although I believe Mario might have dropped that one before Blades got there.
Watch out here for Darrell Rivas. He has run back a punt for a touchdown. One of the most exciting plays in college football all season long. Getske, that's a high kick. And Rivas will give Pitt decent field position at the 33-yard line following the 41-yard punt. Well, this Tyler Palko, left-handed quarterback, 2-time All-Big East honoree, and he's got a chance to really pass an unbelievable name. If he gets 201 total yards today, he will pass Dan Marino into second place in the all-total yardage list. He can't catch Alex Van Pelt, but that says a lot about Palko right there.
Yeah, that's a pretty good name to be passing on any kind of list.
Remember, Dave Wanstead said he will not be sacked in the first quarter, he being Palko. They're not going to get him here, I don't think. Or will they? Well, you talked about it, Ray, at the open. He's learned to throw the ball away.
Right, he'll throw it away if there's nothing there, and that's a key for him.
Nivea for Men brings us the Pitt offensive lineups. Of course, we talked about Tyler Palko, but you like these seniors.
Yeah, I think Steve Dukas has come on and done a great job playing a tight end position, and then Joe Villani, the center, the leader up front there. Those are the 3 seniors for Pitt who are playing their last game for the Panthers.
And Dave Wanstead told us when we met with him on Friday that he wished he could do more for these guys. This is Dave's second year with the Panthers as head coach. Stevens Howling with the tailback, top of the eye. He's a small back and just sort of wiggled through that nice hole to get 9. Bring up third down and short.
And that's one of the advantages of being a smaller back. You can kind of squeeze through small holes. And that's what Stevens Howling does right here. You're going to see him go ahead and run it, fellas. He's just going to have a little bit of hold of guard. Big guard pulls around, kicks out the outside linebacker, and right there that hole kind of opened up late. But Stevens Howling was able to squeeze through there and get a nice gain.
He goes only 5'7", 175, a sophomore. Ran for 221 yards versus Syracuse earlier this season. Third and short for Pitt on their opening drive. Trying to go behind Collins, the fullback. A pretty good block, and that should be enough for the first down.
All right, Stevens Howling, the ball carrier.
Take a look at the Cardinals defense. And we mentioned this is an underrated unit. There's so much focus, Ray, on the offense for Louisville, and understandably, but this is a good group.
Yeah, just speed across the board. These are the pass rushers that go in there. Jackson with 7 sacks, Okoye with 6 sacks, and they just bring the pressure. Anderson had a couple of sacks last week. He's been injured, but he has 4 sacks. Those are the guys that bring the heat, and they have great speed along that front line.
We have a first down for the first time in this game. And a little trickery. Didn't work. And it's really not working well. That ball goes out of bounds and belongs to Louisville. Recovery looks like Jonathan Russell on the recovery.
That thing gets punched out late. It's just a jet sweep type play. Going to hand it off quick, try and race him to the corner is Pistano, and right there it gets kicked out at the end.
That was Peanut Whitehead, Ray, who was added to the starting lineup today in place of Earl Heyman, and he forced the fumble. Now the crowd here is a little bit irritated. They thought this ball was out of bounds and it was recovered. And it will be reviewed by our referee, Gerald McGinn.
It's on the review.
Actually, he won't do the reviewing. Somebody in a booth will take care of that for him.
Yeah, it's actually Nick Trainer is our replay official today. He'll be looking at it. But take another look at this. You see, he doesn't quite have possession, drops it, picks it up there. He's got that football in bounds, in my opinion.
I don't blame him for reviewing it, but I think you're right. It looked like he had it. The ball doesn't touch the ground when he lands.
And
right.
He was thinking about end zone there and forgot to tighten up the football first. Right there, you saw the eyes of John Russell look up for the field ahead of him and took him off the football just a split second too soon, and that led to the bobble.
Well, one of the strangest stats you'll encounter in college ball as we wait for the ruling is the turnover difference between these teams. Pitt is +11 and maybe +10 if this review goes against them. And they're 6-5 and they've lost 4 in a row. Louisville 9-1, a top 10 team in the BCS. Well, they're even now, but that's amazing for a team that's 9-1 to be even in turnovers, while the team that's +10 isn't.
Yeah, sometimes that can be a misleading statistic. Most times not, but in this case it definitely is. And the thing for Louisville is they've got so many other things going for them that they don't necessarily have to win the turnover battle to win every game.
That Stripling goes into the tailback spot. Now they empty the backfield. He goes all the way to the far side. Plenty of time for Brown. Marubia underneath. And he'll get it down to the 19-yard line before Rivas knocked him down. That's a 22-yard pickup.
And they had a linebacker trying to cover him underneath. You're going to see right here is Bennett. He's a linebacker. He's going to be looking outside, and he's going to chase Urrutia across the field. You see, that's just a mismatch in speed. There's no way they can expect Bennett to track Urrutia across the field all day long.
Louisville has one of the country's best kickers in Art Carmody if they need it. Smith, the tailback now. He and Stripling have been rotating a lot so far. And Smith trying to bounce to the outside, and he breaks the tackle, trying to get to the end zone. Touchdown, Louisville. In 2 plays, they make Pitt pay for the turnover.
Oh, sloppy tackling by the Pitt Panther defense, which has kind of been inconsistent in terms of their tackling. And when they don't tackle well, boy, they have problems. They've already missed 2 tackles on this deal.
I'll tell you, Ray, this play didn't look like it was going to go anywhere at first.
Yeah, it almost looked as if it was a bad play until they pulled the guard away from where the running back went. He stopped and then cut it back the other way.
It's on the review.
No, wait a minute. Maybe they thought he didn't get into the end zone. So we'll go back to the review.
Take a look ourselves and see if he does get into the end zone or not. Colby Smith taking it outside. You see him make the move there, break the tackle. And let's see if that knee goes down before he gets in. I don't think so. The hand hit the ground, but nothing else hit the ground. I think that's going to be a touchdown. You see again, no elbows or arms, anything hitting the ground, just the hand. You can do that. That's going to be a touchdown.
The last review didn't take very long, and we guess this one won't be a very difficult decision either for the replay booth. Well, Dave Wanstead promised us no sacks. He didn't promise us no turnovers.
No.
After review. Video confirms the call on the field. Touchdown is good.
So Carmody on for the PAT. Trying to make it 7-0 Louisville.
This Louisville offense, you think of them as a pass offense, a team that likes to throw the ball, but they rush for over 190 a game as well. They're one of the more balanced offensive football teams in the nation.
Actually, the only team, I think, Ray, to average 190 on the ground and 275 in the air. No other team in college football can do that. And you saw their quick strike ability. It only took 2 plays and 41 yards to put the Cardinals in front 7-0. You're watching college football on ESPN as we try to find out if Pitt can respond. By Southwest Airlines as part of Rivalry Week, presented by Remington and ABC. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. You see the history. Ray, the interesting story here is how this rivalry began on a train trip.
Behind every great man, there's a greater woman, and Bonnie, Duke Rockney's wife, was convinced to visit Southern California by the opposing coach's wife, and that's how things started way back then. This is a honeydew game. You do what the wife says.
Flannery on the kickoff. And Pitt will decide not to run it out. Well, Pittsburgh, one of the things they do very well is the first quarter. They have been outstanding. They've outscored their opponents by about 70 points. They've only allowed 3 touchdowns. And then this happened. The run by Colby Smith, just the 4th TD allowed in the first quarter this year.
Yeah, and that was due to the turnover and then the sloppy tackling on defense. They have to get that fixed. If they can't tackle well, this could be a blowout in favor of Louisville.
So Pitt will try to recover as they try to trick play. They hand off to Pistano. That did not work for them. Wound up with a fumble. Louisville brings the blitz. Wide open. That's Lucas, and that is a Pitt first down. Tackle made by Abe Brown.
This is a nice job of picking up the blitz, first of all. John Russell, the free safety, is going to blitz. Here he is right up here coming in. And so now that tight end is going to come over the middle, and it's a zone blitz, so there's nobody really assigned to him. So the linebacker, Abe Brown, has to sift through things and find him, and he did, but not until it was a first down.
Lucas is senior. That's his 25th catch on the year. Quick toss out. It'll pick up about 5 or 6. It looks like O'Derrick Turner on the catch, and the tackle made by William Gay.
Well, Dave Wannstedt said, hey, we're not going to be sacked here in the first quarter, and one of the things he's going to do to avoid that sack is throw the one-step passing game. Stand up, pitch it out to the wide receiver as quick as possible, get him one-on-one out there with a corner and get what you can.
2nd down and 4. You see Dave's numbers here at Pitt. Stevens Howling, the lone setback. Pretty much looks like the same play, different receiver. That's Kinder close to the marker.
Yeah, and they'll move Kinder around to try and get matchups and put him in different spots. Usually he's the flanker. They'll move him over to split in where he was on that particular play. Sometimes he'll be in the slot, but he's the guy they really like in terms of the big play. You got a critical down, throw it to Kinder, because if that ball's up in the air, he's going to go get it.
That's his 47th catch on the year. He has 6 touchdowns. Average is about 17 yards a catch normally. That one is shorty, but it moves the chains.
And a 6-man front up here for Louisville.
What do you think that might mean?
Means they're blitzing.
They do. And Palco picks it up nicely. Gets to Kinder. They'll be a little short of the first down. He almost picked that thing up. Gain of 9 on the play. Well, there's no question Tyler Palco is a better quarterback than last year. The numbers prove it, and his coach is convinced he's better.
You know, really calmed his game down. He's gotten a lot more focused on what the big picture means. And anytime you have a quarterback doing those things, you know, he's going to give you a chance to win every week.
They want to measure for this first down, right?
Yeah, and following up on Dave's comments about Tyler Palco, and it's definitely, you can see the improvement in his game in terms of him not being such a cowboy, or as he called it, a linebacker mentality where he wants to tuck the ball and run a bigger guy over, or if something's not there, he's going to run around and force the ball in and try and make a big play. Sometimes that looks good, but most of the time, or even if you do it half the time and you make a mistake, that's bad news for your offense. That's not how the West Coast offense is run. And so what he's been able to do now is kind of you know, if it's not there, eat the football or throw it away. Not try to be a hero on every play.
How much do you think the influence of Matt Cavanaugh, the Pitt offensive coordinator, has helped Palco?
Tremendous influence. In fact, that's the main reason. He convinced Palco that that's the route he had to take, and then they worked at it and worked at it and worked at it, and it really started to come together towards the end of last year. And this year, he's just been outstanding in terms of making his decisions and managing a game.
See the distance they need to get the Panthers for a first down.
I think they're checking to a run play.
Stevens Howling is the back.
Or not.
Well, it is.
There you go.
It is a first down and a lot more. Well, he does sort of squeeze his way through there. You kind of lose it. I mean, we have a pretty good view from up here, and I have a hard time finding it.
Well, he's only 5'7", 170 pounds. They do a nice job. You're going to see, go ahead and let it run, fellas, and they're just going to get the fake real quick, and that kind of gets the linebackers out of there, and it gives the linemen a chance to get angles on their blocks and get up to that second level. And once they do that, then it's safeties and secondary people that have to make the play.
That was Brandon Sharp on the stop after the 14-yard pickup.
This formation here, They got tight ends out wide.
That's Jeff Ota, the left tackle, 76. That's a 340-pound receiver there. And they throw it to Kinder, not to Ota. I'm kind of disappointed. I don't know about you. We want to welcome you to Heinz Field, everybody. Along with Ray Bentley and Vince Welch, I'm Dave Lamont. We're delighted you could make us part of your Thanksgiving weekend. Beautiful day here. Louisville trying to make it 6th straight over Pittsburgh. They have not been in this town since 1993. And, of course, it's senior day. 18 playing in their last home game, including their fine quarterback for the Panthers, Tyler Palco. But Louisville's never seen this stadium. The last time they played here, the Panthers were on campus at ancient Pitt Stadium, which is now a memory. It's gone. Well, they've been picking on that side like crazy. What do they see over there, Ray?
Well, what they see is a corner off, just enough so that the receiver can catch the ball and have some room to go ahead and make a move before the tackle is commenced. So, you know, you get them off like that, then go ahead and this is an automatic. Look at the space here. He gets 5 yards or more off, then you're going to go ahead and stand up and make that throw, because that DB is going to backpedal his first couple steps anyway, and you're going to get 4 or 5 yards at least every time you do it, as long as you make that completion.
That was the freshman from Pahokee, Florida, T.J. Porter, only his 3rd catch on the year.
It's a nice little drive by Palco, spreading the ball around, mixing in some runs, making great decisions. Perfect so far.
That's Kinder in motion. Looking that way. Well, you get the feeling, Ray, that he is going to break a tackle and make a big play.
And that's what Kinder can do, but I'm telling you, Palco is an outstanding. He's doing very well right now, checking plays at the line and spreading it all over.
Well, let's go down to the field and join Vince Welch. Vince?
You guys are talking about Tyler Palco and his relationship with Matt Cavanaugh, the offensive coordinator. And Cavanaugh told us this week that Palco is as prepared and as smart as any player he's been around. Not only players at the collegiate level, but the pros, too. And Matt Cavanaugh has been around a lot of good football players, so it was about as high a compliment as he could pay, the one he paid to Palco this week.
Yeah, and Vince, he was a pretty good football player himself, too. Going a shot for the end zone. Not great coverage that time by Gavin Smart. Well, let's get an update on Bedlam, Oklahoma State. Head over to Reese Davis. Reese.
All right, guys, Sooners and Pokes were tied at 7. Paul Thompson looking for Joaquin Iglesias to all the goals he's crossed before. Touchdown Sooners are up 13-7 at the half.
All right, that's Bedlam version number 101 of meetings between those two schools. There's a look at Matt Cavanaugh. He also spent some time in the National Football League, but he too is a Pittsburgh guy.
He was a quarterback of the national championship team in '76.
Big hit that time, knocked away by Malik Jackson. Actually, it was pretty hilarious when you had met up with Matt Cavanaugh yesterday. About the first thing that came out was
well, Matt was on that 1990 New York Giants Super Bowl team that beat me and my Buffalo Bills, so I had to kind of get a shot in at him, let him know I hadn't forgotten.
Well, this is a sight that Dave Wannstedt wants no part of. Ellis Kinder shaken up.
Yeah, and you see Malik Jackson making the shoulder hit into there to an exposed rib.
That's Derek Kinder. I knew I would do that eventually. Work in the name of the 1940s Boston Red Sox pitcher, Ellis Kinder. Since I've gotten that out of the way, hopefully that won't happen again.
I wouldn't have had that problem because I have no idea who Alice Kinder might have been.
You know, when you prepare, sometimes you get things stuck in your head, and that I knew was going to happen. So 3rd down and 10. This is the first time on this drive that Pitt has seen 3rd and long.
And this is not where they want to be. They like 3rd and 6 or less is what Dave Wannstedt told us, a manageable situation.
Bunched in, and they're missing Kinder for this play, which certainly can't help. Open. Break a tackle, get a first down. I don't think he got it. Counsel on the stop for Louisville, and it is a definitive signal by the official. 4th down.
And they get a little high-low action over on the corner. Watch this corner right up here. You're going to get a receiver going deep and then one underneath. And depending on what he does, that's Palco's read. If the corner gets back too far like he does there, he's going to drop it underneath. If that corner were to come up underneath, then he'll throw that flag route to the corner. So it was an excellent read by Palco and a good job by Louisville to come up and make the tackle short of the sticks.
And kicker Connor Lee is left on the bench. 4th down. Hey, it's senior day. Why not? First down. And Kinder, well, he got right back into the game and wrestles for an extra couple of yards before Gavin Smart tosses him out of bounds.
And he is so physical, and that's what really makes this play work. This is really your old run-and-shoot offense. You see Palco just taking a kind of a 3-step drop on an angle towards the play side, and it's just a quick out route by the man on the end of the line of scrimmage, which is Kinder, and he is so physical with the player over him that he creates the separation needed to get that first down.
Pittsburgh in the red zone this year, 30 out of 34, 24 of those 30 scores. Touchdowns. Stevens howling, the lone setback. Nice chance to get to the corner. Touchdown, Pitt. Well, we've been tracking missed tackles by Pittsburgh. There was one for Louisville that time.
Well, I don't know if that was so much as a missed tackle as a broken tackle in terms of making somebody whiff. What a cut by Stevens howling. He looked like he was going to take it right up into the middle, and then on a dime shot outside. The defender had no chance.
Now they'll bring Connor Lee off the bench, and he'll kick for 1 instead of 3. So going for it on 4th down pays off for the Panthers. They're a moment away from evening up this game. Straight down the middle of the fairway, 7-7 with 6:37 to go in the first quarter. We're getting the kind of offense we thought we might. Stevens howling, zips through, and we are even up now. The ball is in Louisville's court on ESPN. A couple of miles away from the downtown area where a Thanksgiving parade was held this morning. There's our score and time. And kickoff taken by Spillman. He's dangerous. Not there, though, where he got dumped. Nice hit made there by Giovanni Chappelle. Beautifully done. Only a 16-yard return. Stevens howling picked up his 10th touchdown of the year. That is a perfect drive, Ray.
Boy, outstanding drive. And Dave Wannstedt said, hey, we're not going to get sacked. And they didn't. And the reason was all the one-step drops, the quick out passing that they threw. They did a couple of 3 steps, a couple of play action, mix it up. You didn't see any 7-step drops out of that Pitt Panther offense in that drive.
Colby Smith is the setback. He and Stripling have pretty much traded off plays. Smith has the touchdown, but the Cards put the ball on the ground, and it's Pitts. Well, he just flat dropped the football, and looks like Sam Bryant came up with it, the strong safety.
Get the momentum going here in Heinz Field for the Pitt Panthers. You see the handoff just didn't get far enough into the belly. And I got to put that one on Brown. You got to put that ball all the way in there. It looked like he left it on the hip a little bit.
Well, there you see, this is a top 10 team that has not been able to hang on to the ball lately. And now we are even in turnovers. Louisville turns Pitt's mistake into a touchdown. Now we'll see what the Panthers can do. They go on the reverse with Kinder. He's going to throw. Wide open touchdown, Pittsburgh. 21 yards to Derek Turner.
And they went to the razzle-dazzle there. They had a couple things going for them. Number one, they're in the red zone, and then right off a turnover, you go ahead and take a chance. They, take a shot. They went the reverse pass, and it was wide open. Louisville nowhere near Kinder.
Leon for the PAT.
Kick is good.
Take another look at this razzle-dazzle, and you can see the man in motion right there is Kinder, and there's nobody by him. And finally the pressure comes up in that corner. When that corner came up, Kinder knew that he wasn't going to be back there to cover Turner. Here's Turner right here. You're going to see the eyes of the defender over there, Gay, looking inside, and then he bit up on the run fake, on the reverse fake. Did not stay with his man. A Cardinal sin by the Cardinals.
Score in time. There's Derek Turner, who caught his 7th touchdown pass of the year, but the first time he's caught one from Derek Kinder, I can assure you. As Pittsburgh leads Louisville 14-7. Now, we talked about this already, Ray, about the turnover situation with Pitt being so good and Louisville being so poor, and that is unbelievable that they can have a 9-1 record and be -1.
Well, that shows you that they're very good at other things, but it also shows you, boy, we could be so much better if we protected the football and then took it away. You know, their fumbles against Rutgers really is what hurt them when they lost that ball game.
And a fumble here puts the Panthers in front 14-7. This will be returned. Spillman, he's dangerous now. Number 10 in the NCAA in kick returns. Looking for a hole. He's got one. And a saving tackle for the Pitt Panthers, that time by Reggie Carter, number 21, who saved the tackle after a 35-yard return.
Tripped up by number 21.
Vince Wells.
Guys, Dave Wanstead was talking to us earlier this week about his seniors, and even though this is a group that he has not recruited here to Pittsburgh, he talked about how much he wanted to win this game for that group. Only 12 seniors on this Pitt team, and Wanstead has grown to love each and every one of them. He says he wants to get this game so they'll get a bowl game or a better bowl game, and also give them the opportunity to showcase their skills a little bit more. And he is really outspoken in that regard as to what the seniors, even though there's only 12 of them, what they mean to this program.
All right, thank you, Vince. A short gain there on the pass to Colby Smith. Brown had plenty of time to scout out his options, but good coverage that time by the Panthers D.
Yeah, it was a real late developing route, so he needed that time, but it was so covered up down the field, he had to dump it off. And then I was impressed with the pursuit of the Panther defense getting after it.
Of course, those seniors that Dave Wanstead is so fond of were not the players that he recruited. Walt Harris, who's now the head coach at Stanford, brought those guys in, but Dave grew to like them very, very quickly. Not much of a gain that time for the Cardinals. Brings up 3rd down, and they'll have about 5 or 6, looks like. Joe Clemon and, among others on the stock, Rashad Duncan also making a stop.
You see Bobby Petrino over there signaling in the plays. His brother Paul Petrino's upstairs in the booth, and he kind of makes suggestions, and then Bobby will make the final decision on what play he wants. And when we talked to Paul Petrino, he said, you know what, that's the one thing my brother does really well. He can call some plays now.
They empty the backfield. Down the middle. Great catch that time. That's Harry Douglas. Brian Bennett on the stop, but Douglas got in front of his man and makes the catch. 1st down, Louisville.
Just an outstanding throw from Jeff Brom. It's just going to be, you're going to see, it's going to be man-to-man coverage. Blades, the linebacker's going to head over this way. So you know it's man-to-man across the board. And you're going to get just a great move by Douglas to get inside his defender. And again, they got him matched up on Brian Bennett, number 44, a linebacker. You cannot survive trying to cover Louisville's receivers with linebackers.
Looks like they faked a little bit of an option to go back to Smith, who cuts back right through the middle of the field. Looks like he has carried it for a 1st down for the Cardinals. That's an 11-yard pickup. Tackle made by Gus Musnikas.
And that's just a little misdirection draw play, because obviously Louisville's seeing that the Pitt Panther defense is fired up right now. They're flying to the football, so you want to hit them with a little misdirection and try and gash them that way, and it's pretty successful.
Louisville makes things happen in bunches. They do it quickly. Good play action. Might be looking at Douglas again. He is, and it's a Louisville touchdown. Boy, that was so easy.
Well, again, a misdirection. Brom rolls to the right, sets up, and throws all the way back against the grain, and the receiver wide open for that touchdown, and we got a late flag on this.
And this touchdown will not count because there is a holding call against Louisville. Wipe it out. It never happened.
Legal block in the back on the offense. Number 33. 10-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Replay first down.
That's Colby Smith.
Colby Smith was the tailback in that last setup. It's hard to kind of see it from this look right now, but right there it is. Right there, you see, pushed him in the back at the end, and he's outside of that clip zone, which is right at the line of scrimmage. When you get back behind the line of scrimmage, you cannot hit somebody in the back.
So forget about that touchdown. Instead, it's going to be first down at 20. Fake the screen to one back. Go to the next underneath. Big hit. And that's Blades on the stop. Not a surprise to see that. Spillman was the receiver. And there's Benny Blades, former Miami Hurricane and a longtime NFL star. That's HB's father.
Take a look at this play at the end. Blades in the middle in his zone coverage. Comes up and puts a little plastic on Harry Douglas.
Well, Blades, if he has a huge day, will pass another Pitt immortal. We'll tell you about that in a moment for all-time tackles. This is Smith. They could have used Blades on that one. Breaks the tackle almost. He actually dragged Jameel Brady quite a ways, 10 yards on the carry. But if a huge day happens for HB Blades, 19 tackles, he'll pass Hugh Green on the all-time tackles list for second place. Here is HB and his dad.
Emotional moment for the Blades family there. Everybody knows Benny Blades played at Miami, was an All-American there, won a national championship. A lot of people thought his son would go to Miami. He said he felt more like a Pittsburgh guy when he came up here, was comfortable, blue-collar type guy. He said he'd fit in better here.
Through behind the receiver. That'll bring up fourth down and about 8. Well, HB Blades is from South Florida, but this is his kind of town.
Well, he said, I feel that way, blue collar. You bring your hard hat to work. He loves the city and the atmosphere. So the people here love the game of football, and that's why he came here. It's going to be his last opportunity to play today, and it's going to be an emotional one. And you saw some of the emotion when he hugged his father, and you see the emotion in the way he's playing this ball game.
Carmody is on, and he has made 15 consecutive field goals. He is a Lou Groza Award finalist. And he tucks that one into bed nicely. So Louisville gets on the board. They had 6. It was taken away by a penalty. So Pittsburgh maintains the lead with 1:59 to go, 14-10 after the field goal by Carmody, the all-time leading scorer. You know, when we talked to HB, he and his father really weren't that close as he was growing up.
Right. In fact, he lived with his grandparents and down in Florida, and until Benny retired, he really didn't live with his father, didn't see him that much, but he said now after he retired, he moved in with him and he was able to kind of hang around, and he was in the Lions locker room and, you know, talked to Chris Spielman and Barry Sanders and those kind of guys as a kid growing up. Said he really learned a lot from that situation, and he's really become a lot closer with his father since they've moved in together.
And also another big influence in his life was his uncle Al Blades, who was tragically killed in a car accident a while back, and certainly a void in HB's life. I know he misses him terribly, but that's quite a set of bloodlines in that group for football players. Well, you know, you got the USC Notre Dame game on ABC, but if you like to watch a great ACC battle with a lot at stake, we got it for you tonight at 7:45 on ESPN at 7:45 Eastern, of course. Wake Forest continues fighting for the ACC Atlantic Division. What a story as they visit Maryland. College football primetime, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Remington on ESPN Saturday at 7:45 Eastern, and also available in high definition on ESPN HD. And for more information, you can always log on to ESPN.com. That's Robinson and Porter back deep. Robinson third in the NCAA in kick returns, and he'll get a chance. And good coverage that time by the Cardinals special teams. Only a 21-yard return. A hit made there by Lamar Miles. And Benny Blades has joined Vince Welch. Vince?
Well, Benny, we saw that video of HB coming out and greeting you here on Senior Day. What emotions are going through your mind there?
I was telling his mom, I can't believe it's been 4 years. You know, it's been incredible 4 years for him, you know what I mean? You know, he almost made me tear up. I'm not an emotional guy. I mean, he's enjoyed his 4 years here, and I wish him nothing but the best.
We're going to watch this play here and come back to Benny.
Well, time's running out on Palco's no sack guarantees. He finds Stephen Howlings, and even though Stephen Howlings is small, they found him for his short gain. Vince?
What do you think of when you watch HB play? Does he remind you of yourself at all?
A lot of myself. You know, the thing is, I see some of the things that he does, and I'm in awe. You know, the thing is, it's almost like looking at yourself in the mirror, saying, "Man, he's gonna be good." You know, especially at that next level. You know, he's gonna have some of those big guys protecting him. And I tell him, "Hey, you're gonna have a lot of football left."
Yeah, good to see you, Benny.
All right, thank you.
All right, Vince, thank you much. And there is a play that Pitt has gone to now 5 times. Kinder mainly on the catch, and he gets it out to where he 3rd down and short. Abe Brown on the stop.
43, Abe Brown has the stop.
Well, there you see Benny and HB's mom. We're talking about where HB ranks in the all-time tackles lead. You know, there's been some studs who have played at Pitt, Ray.
Yeah, they have. And you look at this list, you see Hugh Green is the one he's kind of closing in on. If he has 19 tackles today, he'll pass Hugh Green for 2nd all time. And he said, boy, that would mean a lot to me because everybody knows what a great player Hugh Green was. You see his picture up all over the place at their facility, and he just felt that would be a monumental accomplishment.
3rd down and short, and this time Stephen Howling is just hauled down by Malik Jackson for a loss on the play. And for the first time today, Pitt Panthers will be forced to punt, but they'll do that when the 2nd quarter starts.
No sacks.
You're right. They got away with that. And they also get out of this 1st quarter with the lead. Now Louisville's going to get the ball back. Pittsburgh leads this one after 14-10. You're watching college football on ESPN.
Prior to that, an 80-yard drive with Tyler Palco putting the ball all over the place where he needed to. They played very well, and defensively, they've held up. They got a break getting that penalty on that touchdown, but so far, so good.
We talked at the top of the show with Vince about the field conditions after this punt here by Gressel. I'd like to find out what you think of it so far, because the field here took a beating yesterday. Tough snap and a funny-looking little kick. This might roll a lot, though. You got some room here. Spillman. He'll take this into Panthers territory. So excellent field position for the Cardinals here. And Ray, what do you think? How do you think this field has held up so far after 4 high school games yesterday?
I think it's held up pretty dang good, as a matter of fact. You know, when I went and walked out on it earlier, the thing about it is they rolled it, so it's a very hard surface. And even though you have dirt, as long as it's not mud, you're going to be all right. And, you know, it might get chewed up, we'll stick around, see what happens later on as they continue to play. But so far, so good. I have not seen a lot of slippage.
Well, Louisville's 1 touchdown drive was a short field. And they have a short field here down the middle. Urrutia wide open. He'll just walk into the end zone. That is a 42-yard touchdown pass. And again, they made it look really easy.
Well, the key was the great protection. I mean, Brian Brown, he just sat in there and waited. And finally, Urrutia came across and beat Jamel Brady on a kind of an inside post cut, and Brady just didn't have the speed to hang with him.
And that was a concern, I think, for Pitt, realizing they're just not as fast as the Cardinals are.
Right? You try to, manufacture speed. You do different things to try and do that. But at the end of the day, you got to be able to cover their guy when he's running down the field like that.
Good snap on the PAT, and now Louisville has taken back the lead they had early in the 1st quarter, 17-14. It's Brom and Urrutia hooking up yet again for the Louisville Cardinals. Now we'll see if Tyler Palco and the Pitt Panthers can counter when we come back. This is ESPN's College Football, presented by Cars.com.
We're back. Let's take a look at that last touchdown. Here's Urrutia right here, and the safety, Brady, right up there. Now you're going to see Brady, they got him stacked coming down the field. He got too wide and wasn't able to recover when Urrutia made that inside cut. He's got to stay a little bit more inside because that's his area of the field. He just got too wide, and it allowed the room for Brom to throw that dart in there.
And that allowed Louisville to go back in front, 17-14. He's Ray Bentley. I'm Dave Lamont. Vince Welch is on the sidelines. An absolutely perfect day in downtown Pittsburgh. Low 60s and no threat of rain. Chance here again. Looks like Robinson. Couple of nice cutbacks, but Louisville with a fine job on coverage. Let's get more on Bedlam 101. Let's go to Reese.
All right, guys, Oklahoma trying to make its way to the Big 12 championship game. Taco Bell studio update. Alan Patrick making a run for Kansas City. 65 yards to put the Sooners up 20-7, but the Pokes just answered. Extra point pending. It is now 20-14 in the third quarter.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. How about the play of Patrick with the loss of Adrian Peterson?
He stepped his game up right there, and it also tells you that they've got a pretty good offensive line.
How about that with Kinder, the one-hander, gain of 19.
And watching film on Kinder, I saw a bunch of plays like this. He's got circus catch ability. Here he is, he's going to run a post route, kind of just stick it inside, and then the ball's thrown behind him a little bit by Palco, but he just one-hands that thing and brings it in. And he can make that kind of play on a regular basis.
And a free safety, John Russell on the stop. You take a look at Kinder, a junior from Albion, New York, but I'm sure the NFL scouts are all over him. Of course, the funny thing is the Panthers actually share a facility with the Steelers, but they really aren't allowed to speak.
So to speak.
Right. There's that fake again on that little side screen, and Palco just pitches it over into the Louisville trainers area, so it brings up 2nd down and 10. Yeah, NCAA rules really won't permit any contact. I'm sure accidentally somebody will bump into somebody, a coach or a player, but no real formal contact is allowed.
Right, and they share the complex, so I mean, all you have to do is look out the window and see each other, but I suppose they don't have contact.
No.
10 from the 41.
So Tyler Palco with Stevens Howling, the lone setback. Palco hasn't thrown a touchdown pass yet, but Derek Kinder has. And it's Kinder again. He's done about everything. Gets it right to midfield. That's a gain of 9. Well, I know everyone's anxious about that. Some of our crew is pretty anxious about this game. Pete Carroll at USC competing for another spot in the BCS championship game. Tonight they face a tough task as Charlie Weiss brings the Fighting Irish out to California. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines is part of Rivalry Week presented by Remington on ABC. And you can always get more information by going to ESPN.com. Pete Carroll has not lost a game in November since he went out to Los Angeles. 19-0.
That's pretty good.
Stevens Howling, and that's the first down. Look, well, I don't know. Boy, I thought he had it, Ray, and you know what? Look at the spot.
Well, that's the thing about having a 5'7", 175-pound tailback. When you need a yard, he's not the guy that can push the pile. You know, I'm surprised they don't work somebody else. They've used Kevin Collier a little bit, and Shane Brooks a little bit back there. But, you know, when you have to push the pile in order to get the chains, I don't know if you want to put the little guy in there and have him try that.
Conrad Collins, the fullback, goes 235. The sophomore from Miami, whose father played in the NFL, Tony Collins. But based on what we all see, the yellow line, which the referee does not have the benefit of, that's all they have to do. Now, Dave went for it on 4th down and 1 deep in Louisville territory and succeeded. And he's going to stay in the game, Ray.
Well, I think he realizes he's in a little bit of a track meet right now because they haven't been able to stop Louisville that much here since the first series or so. So he says, you know what, if it's a track meet, then I got to keep running.
And Collins, the fullback, does come in. And it looks like that's the first down.
Yeah, and I like the quick count. You saw Palco looking around and then quickly ducked his hands under there and got the snap right away. And when you do that, it gives your offensive line a little bit more momentum. It gives the quarterback momentum, and you can push it forward and get those precious inches that you need.
Isn't that the Peyton Manning goose sneak that they call it, Indy?
It's similar to that. The goose sneak, you go on the, you know, when the quarterback puts the pressure on the center, he'll snap the football. But I think on this one, he gave a snap count so everybody could fire out.
And Bobby Petrino not terribly happy with his defensive line that time.
Bobby's not a happy guy a lot of times.
He's intense.
Yes, he is. And it bodes well for him.
Stevens Howling, and he didn't get very far at all that time.
Stevens Howling, the ball
looked like
carrier.
Mobi Okoye, the senior from Huntsville, Alabama, by way of Nigeria, came in on the stop.
Had the stop for the Cardinals.
Well, Vince, this is one of the most fascinating stories in all of college football, Okoye's development.
Yeah, it's just absolutely amazing. He signed a college scholarship at the age of 15 and played in his first game for Louisville at age 16. His family moved from Nigeria to Huntsville, Alabama when he was 12. Very smart kid, skipped a grade in school when he made the transition to the U.S. And when he came to Louisville, it was assumed he'd be a redshirt, but he was just too good to keep off the field even at the age of 16 as a freshman.
Underneath, this is Collins, and a first down for the Panthers, and a whole lot more down to the 14-yard line before the hit is finally made by A. Brown.
Well, that was just a nice job right there of Palco waiting for him to clear, and then Malik Jackson had the coverage on Collins, but he's going to get him. Here you're going to see the back's going to sneak out here, and here's the man that's got coverage on him. He's going to get inside leverage, and when you get the inside leverage, actually, it was the outside back that had the coverage, but he had inside leverage on Jackson. And when you got him inside, boy, you get the ball, you're going to run away from him just like you did there because you don't have the sideline to help slow things down for you.
Well, the track meet you alluded to is well underway. You see what the Panthers have done on first down. Very successful. Stevens Howling trying to keep that streak alive. How about the stiff arm? And he got it down to about the 9 as he just stuck his hand right in the grill of John Russell and kept going.
Well, you know what? We've talked about how small he is, but he plays bigger than what he is. And you're going to see this, an example of the strength that he has. Number one, he breaks the tackle, and then now in a much bigger man, he throws that stiff arm on him and is able to get 4 or 5 more yards afterwards.
Preston Smith also had to come in to finish him off. His first down has been very helpful for the Panthers so far.
Yeah, they mixed it up too. You see 6 times on first down they've thrown, and they've been successful with it, and that's very important to them.
And Ellis, Derek Kinder, there I go again with a baseball reference. Derek Kinder is the one who called timeout. So he really has done everything on this field for the Pitt Panthers. He's caught passes. He's thrown a touchdown pass. Matt Cavanaugh wants to talk to Tyler Palco and see what he can come up with. Pitt in great shape right now. He scores on this 6-yard run to even things up. Then after a turnover, how about this little trick play? It's Kinder to Turner, and it's a Pitt touchdown. The Panthers go in front 14-7. However, on Louisville's last possession, Brian Brom's 9th touchdown pass of the year, a wide-open Mario Urrutia, and the Cardinals retake the lead 17-14. But look where we are now. It's senior day, probably for some of the band members as well, and the cheerleading squads. But here's the Panthers, 2nd down and 4. And we have all sorts of problems before this play ever got off.
Yeah, they tried to snap the ball to catch the Cardinals off sides. Weren't sure if they did. Some of them continued to play, some of them didn't. And then they blew the whistle to stop it.
Gerard McGinn is our referee. All Big East crew, of course.
You know, you see that a lot of times. The center, he's told if they're in the neutral zone, they jump across, quick snap the ball, and we'll take a knee and get them off sides. And you saw Palco almost take a knee and then thought better of it.
Dead ball. False start on the offense. Number 68. 5-yard penalty. Remains 2nd down.
And Dave wants to. How can that be?
The 10:33.
He wants to know who is it on. It's on Joe Villani, who's the center, making his 23rd straight start. A senior from Waughton, New York, a walk-on transfer from Bucknell, who played his way into a scholarship.
10:31 on the clock.
So now it's 2nd down and just about 10.
That's kind of a dubious call in the sense that when the center moves, that's when the play starts. He's the guy that gets it going. He can't be illegally proceeding.
And they might have missed the number on that then. Well, they said Brom wouldn't be sacked in the first quarter, and he wasn't, pardon me, Palco. But Palco goes down here, the first Louisville sack of the afternoon, and all of a sudden what looked like 2nd and 4 a little while ago is now turned into 3rd and very long. Preston Smith in there for the Cardinals.
Well, they brought the house on this one. You're going to see that open up. Okoye gets instant pressure. He actually got there first, and then the blitzers showed up afterwards, piling on top.
Yeah, Okoye really collapsed that pocket, didn't he?
He's so quick, and then he's so strong. He kind of get himself sideways, grab a hold of you, and throw you out of the way, and then he's gone before you know it.
6'1", 317. Drop by Collins. Move the shades a bit, and we'll set up Connor Lee for the field goal. Nate Harris on the stop.
Nate Harris had the stop.
Got 2 very good kickers in here. Carmody for Louisville has made 16 straight field goals, and Connor Lee is 11 out of 13 on the year.
4th down, Connor Lee attempting.
Kind of a conservative call by Dave Wannstedt. on that 3rd and long. He just didn't want to maybe create a problem for himself, come away and definitely get points and tie this ball game.
This will be a 30-yard attempt. The punter, Gressel, is also the holder. And we are tied.
31-yard field goal.
30-yard kick is good for Connor Lee. He's 12 out of 14 on the year. And Dave Wannstedt has got his team even with the 8th-ranked Louisville Cardinals.
That's Pitt 17, Louisville 17.
Well, let's go down to the sidelines and Vince Welch.
Well, Ray was just saying that he thought that play was a bit conservative, and Tyler Palko, the quarterback for Pitt, agreed. He came off the field screaming at offensive coordinator Matt Cavanaugh. They exchanged words. Cavanaugh chose to let Palko continue on to the bench, but there's no question that Palko was not happy with that call and that selection of a conservative call, if you will.
Yeah, those guys have the relationship where they can, that stuff's not going to affect them down the road. They've been at it now for 2 years together, and they got great respect and admiration for each other, and you can kind of, go back and forth like that, and it's no big deal.
Well, and Ray, I thought it was interesting how Matt Cavanaugh said yesterday when we were talking to him, it's a thin line between being understanding of the challenges that the quarterback faces and then at the same time being critical of the plays that the quarterback doesn't make. And he says sometimes they go back and forth over that line, but in general, they've got a really good relationship to where they are able to kind of air out some differences, as you said, and they were definitely airing out their differences just a moment ago.
And you have to have that kind of relationship in order to be successful, because this is a highly intense game, and there's so much time and preparation that goes into it, and it means so much to them that you have to be able to have your spats and then immediately move on.
This is Spillman at the goal line. Running straight ahead. Didn't make one cutback and got decent field position out of that. About a 25-yard return. Time for our Aflac trivia question. We like this one, but I'm so proud of myself. I got it right. Who is the only other player besides Tony Dorsett to win a Heisman, a national championship, and a Super Bowl, and be voted into both the college and pro football halls of fame? Want to find out and want to cheat and impress your friends? Go to page 711 of the ESPN College Football Encyclopedia. We will give you a moment to do that. Now, do you know who this is?
Yes, I do, because I was there when you guessed it correctly.
Okay, I was trying to set you up there.
No thanks.
Just this once I was trying anyway. Colby Smith, the tailback for the Cardinals. Pitt doing a good job that time. They strung that play out. Joe Clermont and H.B. Blades in there. Well, Louisville has not been perfect today at all, right?
Now they've made some mistakes in terms of tackling. 7 missed tackles, dropped a pass. They got the turnover and then just 1 penalty. That's not too bad for a quarter and a half. But the 7 missed tackles, that's unconscionable. You can't miss that many tackles in this amount of time. You have to start tackling better.
2nd and long for Bobby Petrino's team. Stripling in the game out wide from his regular tailback spot. Brom winds up, hits Arudia. That's right at the marker.
Brom's pass complete to number 7.
Well, they continue to have a heck of a game between OU and OSU. Let's go to Reese Davis.
All right, guys, checking in once again on that rivalry, Oklahoma State. Chris Brown going in for the Sooners, who are trying to make the Big 12 championship game win, and they're in 27-14, getting late in the 3rd there. Georgia Tech and Georgia, clean old-fashioned hate, they call it. Jackets up by 3 just before halftime.
That's for the Governor's Cup, of course. Thank you, Reese. It is a first down for the Cardinals. Anthony Allen gets into the tailback spot right now and gets the carry. Louisville loves to rotate those tailbacks. He is a freshman from Tampa. He's run for over 300 yards this season. All right, well, we gave you time to go look this one up if you have the ESPN College Football Encyclopedia. A great Christmas gift if you don't. Now, who is the only other player besides Tony Dorsett to win a Heisman, a national championship, a Super Bowl, and make the college and pro football halls of fame? It would be USC's Marcus Allen. You might see him on the sidelines tonight patrolling when Notre Dame plays the Trojans in the Coliseum. That'll be a first down for the Cardinals.
Again, Allen, the running back.
And Allen, the runner again. Rashad Duncan, a sophomore from Belgrade, Florida. So many Floridians on this Pitt Panther team. And you'd think, well, because Dave Wannstedt was on the Dolphins. No, Walt Harris got a lot of those guys.
Yeah, and a lot of people go in there because there's so many excellent high school football players down there. And, one of them is Anthony Allen, who's just gotten the ball a couple times in a row. And I've been greatly impressed with him and the limited time that he's had in this backfield. He's proved to be quite a weapon.
They send Stripling out wide. Brom to Rutia. They're having a hard time stopping him inside the 10.
Boy, he just ran past Kennard Cox. That was just your old-fashioned go route. Just run down the field as fast as you can, and I'll throw it to you. And that's exactly what they did. Watch the speed right here. It's kind of a press right there. Kennard doesn't really alter the route with the hands on him. He kind of step for step. He never got his head turned around to look for the ball, but his his raw speed that blew past him and enabled this play to work for Louisville. And then the throw by Braum was just perfect.
43 yards. And Allen is back into the tailback spot. Stretch play, and it does not work at all. And who else but H.B. Blades?
Nice play by Blades, sneaking in behind the blocking up the front, and then hitting that open window and then angling to make the play. And that's what a good inside linebacker will do. A lot of guys can run up through there and make it look like they did something. He's able to make the angles to make those plays.
Well, we've talked about the field. Let's take a look at it. Whoop. That's Douglas.
And that's on the outside where the field isn't chewed up.
Right. You see right there in the center. If you're wondering why it looks so bad, we'll explain here in a moment. That is nothing going on there. Phillips got in there and really delivered the blow to slow that play down. 4 high school playoff games were played at Heinz Field on Friday, starting at 10:30 in the morning, and they didn't finish till about 10:30 Friday night.
And thank goodness there's no rain, because if we had rain in the last 24 hours or so, this thing would be a quagmire.
3rd down and goal from the 9. Stripling the tailback. 4 receivers for Braum to choose from. To the end zone. Touchdown, Louisville. They go to the tight end, Barnage, and the Cardinals are back in front.
This is just a nice job of Barnage continuing to work. When your quarterback gets flushed, he's scrambled, he's out on the perimeter, he's going to keep working. Here's Barnage right there in the slot. Watch him, he's going to get outside, and he sees, all right, my quarterback's working, I got to keep working. And the defender totally lost track of him. That's Clint Session, that linebacker, outside linebacker. And you got to plaster when you get that situation. That means you find a receiver and you plaster to him when that quarterback's scrambling.
The PAT low but good, and Louisville retakes the lead. We have been, as we thought we might be, back and forth with offense. Now, can Dave Wanstead's Panthers do something against Bobby Petrino's defense? We'll find out when we return from Pittsburgh. It's in 1960, famously, Bill Mazeroski knocked one over Yogi Berra's head and over that fence to give the Pirates a World Series championship. Where is that fence now? It is on the Pitt campus. Our little history here, because the Pirates' new stadium just a little walk away from where we are, and the Steelers' pretty much brand spanking new facility. A lot of history in this town, of course, for professional sports and college sports. Pitt has 9 national championships. Last one, though, was 1976. This is T.J. Porter. And trying to break that one tackle. He set himself up for a big hit from Stephen Garr, number 23. Well, let's take a look. We talked these quarterbacks. We talked about them yesterday. We talked about them today. What do you think?
I think both of them are playing very well, and you see the yardage pretty close. Braum with a couple of touchdown passes, but the thing is, they've both been getting great protection. Braum has not been hit yet, not been sacked, and Palco's been hit once and sacked just once. So they're getting the time to do their thing, and when they get that, they will throw the ball down the field and make plays.
But there's also no question that Palco and his guys have got to answer. A 3 and out here could be really deadly, the way Louisville has moved the ball and used mismatches. Insignificant gain, a couple of yards there. And that is Kevin Collier, the freshman from Rochester, getting a chance to get in there, the 3rd string tailback.
And they said they were going to try and use him a little bit more often. Matt Cavanaugh told us he's kind of an in-between guy as far as a guy that, you know, is not so small like Stevens Howling. But yet he's a little bigger, that he can push piles and he can run with a little more power. He's a nice changeup for him.
You saw pacing the sidelines there, one of the co-defensive coordinators for Louisville. It's Mike Cassidy, who also handles the safeties. Louisville with 2 defensive coordinators, but only one guy calling plays, and that's Bobby Petrino. Screen set a ball away for Collier. Good job that time by the defender. He didn't buy any of those shoulder shakes.
No, and that was a 5-step drop right there by Tyler Palko, and it hasn't been a whole lot of deeper drops for him in this offense. That's what Dave Wannstedt was telling us. We're not going to get sacked because we're going to get rid of the ball quickly. You look at that, 6 times 1-step drop, 6 3-step. Couple of play actions, just one time a 5-step and just one time a 7-step. So that's why Palko has had, you know, some success and hasn't been harried by the pass rush that much. As Louisville's blitzed now 8 times today, but they've only gotten home once.
And that was William Gay who made that fine stop, setting up 3rd down and 5. Empty backfield for the Panthers. Louisville just rushes 4, and that allowed Palko to find his man. 1st down for Pitt. That is Marcel Pistano on the catch. Now, we've talked a lot about the Irish and the Trojans, but for a spot in the ACC championship game, how about Wake Forest Demon Deacons and the Maryland Terrapins, 2 of the biggest surprises in the ACC. 7:45 Eastern on ESPN tonight. They fight for the Atlantic Division title. College football primetime, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Remington on ESPN tonight at 7:45 Eastern. Also available in high definition on ESPN HD. And for more information, of course, log on to ESPN.com. Palko's number is very strong.
80% completion right now.
Well, he's done that before. His last 8 games, 73%. So he is still in tune. And it's intercepted and then dropped. And it's going to be called incomplete. Incomplete.
What a play by Derek Kinder, getting in there and ripping that ball out of the hands.
That was Nate Harris who had it. And Nate Harris who couldn't hang on to it.
He had it. You're right, he had it, Dave. He's got it. Palko, this is the first bad decision in terms of making this throw I think that he's made. Right there, it's in the hands. And Nate Harris has it until Kinder reaches in there with those strong hands he has and rips it out.
Looked like a pretty solid call by the officials also. Harris, another player from South Florida in this game. Unbelievable. Both these two schools have so many Floridians on their rosters. That's a dangerous throw right there, and it's intercepted by Louisville. That's Gavin Smart down the sideline. And he is finally squashed by Jeff Ota. But Gavin Smart with a pick for Louisville and a 21-yard return.
Boy, that was a dangerous throw. Palko tried to fit it in between a corner and a safety in a cover 2 look. And if you don't put a lot of zip on that ball, here's the safety. He's going to go back. He's got deep half. This corner is going to sit back here, and he's going to have the flats. And what that receiver up top is going to do is try and get between the 2 of them. Right there he is between, and now you got to throw that ball a little sooner, but I really think you hold on to that one because the safety did a nice job coming over there and making the hit, John Russell.
Well, here is a significant test for Pitt's defense. Louisville has ripped through them in the 2nd quarter. Screen it out to Stripling. And he is set up and knocked over that time. Good hit by Rashad Duncan. Well, coming up at halftime, we'll check in with our buddy Reese Davis for the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report. The Florida Gators, yes, they won in Tallahassee, but it wasn't very easy, and a score that made this crowd happy. The Mountaineers losing, and then, of course, a look at tonight's game. The collision in the Coliseum, the Irish and the Trojans on ABC.
2nd down, 7 at the 31.
Louisville trying to win the Big East Championship. They will need help, however, from West Virginia. Brown, plenty of time. He goes to his under. Oh, what a hit! They call that a fumble. They do. It's Pitt ball. Mustakas comes away with it, and H.B. Blades with the huge hit.
Well, they love to run that underneath crossing route, and if you're an inside linebacker and you expand the field of your vision, you'll see it coming, which you saw Blades did, and then he just puts the helmet right on the football, pops it loose, and then Mustakas, kind of Johnny on the spot, running to the football, came up with one.
That was Barnage who took the punishment. Look at this.
That's a middle linebacker's dream right there. A receiver coming late underneath over the middle, and you see it coming. Get yourself in position and deliver the blow.
I've never seen you happier.
I kind of enjoyed that
one. We have a timeout on the field, and we'll return as Dave Wannstedt's Pitt Panthers got the ball back on the turnover.
Back in Pittsburgh, that last fumble recovery by Gus Mustakas is under review. The question is whether or not Barnage had control of the football after H.B. Blades hit him. Be the judge yourself. 1, 2 steps, and he gets hit right after he's trying to tuck the ball away. In my book, that's a fumble. I might be partial towards a linebacker making a big hit over the middle, but I think Barnidge has it. He catches this. One step there, second foot comes down, he's putting it away. To me, that's a catch.
And he had complete control of the football also. There wasn't an issue whether he was juggling or not.
No, he's trying to stash it under his arm. He's got it right there. He's putting it away, and he gets clobbered.
Well, it was funny. We were talking about H.B. Blades. We asked Dave Wanstead, what about Blades' pro prospects? And he said, you know, Blades is one of those guys that has that strike against him. Oh, he's not tall enough. He's not big enough. He's not fast enough. The guy's just a player.
Yeah, and I think he'll have a nice career in the NFL. And as Dave Wanstead said, he's going to be one of those guys that every year they're going to try and replace him with someone stronger, younger, you know, faster, and all those things, and he'll sweat it out on cut day. But, you know, before you know it, he could have a 10-year career. I was in those shoes. I know how that is.
Well, the comparison that Dave Wanstead made it was to Zach Thomas, my Miami Dolphins fine linebacker, who's pretty secure now, but certainly in the beginning of his career, they said the same things about him. Vince?
Pumping life into a sideline. There were a lot of Pittsburgh players hanging their head after that interception, and when Blades made that hit, this whole sideline erupted, and it wasn't a play that just the defensive players appreciated. As Blades came off the field, even the offensive guys came over and gave him a pat on the shoulders for that big hit. By the way, HB stands for Horatio Benedict, and that is his dad's name, Benny Blades. And, well, with a name like Horatio Benedict, maybe we understand now why Benny went by Benny, right?
It also stands for hit Barnidge, which is exactly what he did on that play. This official review, Ray, has taken a long time. Let's take a look at this as it happened.
In real speed. We won't slow it down this time, and let's see what you think after that. I tell you, the other thing you got to hear was the sound of that collision on that replay. That was a lot of plastic.
I wonder if they're just trying to figure out the spot of the football here. Maybe that is the problem, but that was not that difficult. They've got it set down at the 38-yard line, where of all people, Brian Brom made the tackle. And here we go.
At the review, there's indisputable video evidence that it was not a catch. It's an incomplete pass. Third down. 1:27 on the clock.
And that probably was the argument that what do they reset the clock at? Wow. Well, there was a brief moment where the ball was in the crook of his left arm and began to leak out, and I guess that's what they looked at.
Well, if that's indisputable evidence, I'm going to be here to dispute it. So it's no longer indisputable. But I'm telling you, I think he has the football.
I do too. That's a poor call. I hate to pick on the replay official, but I agree with you.
And now it's up to the Pittsburgh team, who got the lift off of that, to continue with that momentum and try to get a stop, at least force a field goal here by Louisville. And they got a 3rd and long, which is they're in a good shape to do that.
The Brom has had so much time. Pitt has not been able to generate any real pressure. And this has this crowd now in an angry mood at Heinz Field.
And they're pressing across the board.
Here they come. Down the middle, Urrutia again. Oh, they held him. Yeah, that's an easy pass interference call that time. Even I could see that. Rivas on the coverage.
And Rivas let Urrutia get the inside leverage on him. And once you let a big man like that get that position on you, you really have very few options at that point. You see him, he's going to be outside. He's favoring outside. He doesn't have a...
On the defense, number 25, 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Automatic first down.
To me, that's curious coverage. Rivas, an obvious outside technique, but there was no safety in the middle of the field. If you're going to play man-to-man with nobody free deep, you have to play inside technique, or you'll give that up all day long.
What a turnaround. We thought this ball was going to belong to Pitt at the 38-yard line. Now, here's Colby Smith. The flag comes in behind the play, however, thrown by the referee. So this run may be wiped out. Kennard Cox on the tackle.
Holding on the offense, number 78, 10-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Replay first down.
And Giacomini is the tackle that gets this thing. You're going to see right over here. Well, they switched it, but right here's the holding.
That's 79 to Foster.
Yeah, they gave the wrong number, but the right tackle, Foster, is the one guilty, and he did hold on that play.
6'7", 327, Bernardo Foster from Ripley, Tennessee. Now 1st and 20. Smith, the tailback, stays in the block. Wow, look at the timing. The pass is tipped. Well, the lineman did that whole thing, Ray. At least if you can't get there, try to disrupt the passing lane.
Right, and I'm watching film on Braum. That's the one thing he does, get a number of balls tipped every game. And he's just got to be able to find better windows to throw the football through. But you're right about the time he had. He had all day to do this thing.
It's Duncan on the tip. He's in Florida. Belgrade. Well, I have not heard this crowd so far in the first half this into the game as they are right now trying to help their Panthers defense. They just can't get to Braun. And he can find his guy right at the marker. That's Douglas. And that may be a first down. That's about a 20-yard play.
And Pitt continues to rush with just 4. Just that defensive line, which, you know, is a little bit undermanned. They've lost a couple of starters due to injuries. Chris McKillop out, Doug Fulmer out, both out for the season. They lost another guy, Mick Williams, who had been in there and made some downs, made some plays for them. So they got younger guys in there. Not their first line all the way across, and they're not able to get the pressure with just 4.
Louisville is 49 out of 52 in the red zone this year.
Here's HB sitting right up here, going to get some.
Willie? No. Instead, it'll be a touchdown with Anthony Allen. Tell you what, you go back to that review, and there's a flag down. Hold on. Louisville had 1 touchdown wiped out with a flag. Will it be a second one?
And more importantly, a 3rd and 1.
Holding on the offense. Number 89. 10-yard penalty from the spot of the infraction. Replay 3rd down.
Second time the Cardinals have had a touchdown taken away because of a penalty. The last time it happened, they had to settle for a field goal. And Louisville is called for a timeout with 45 seconds remaining. Well, let's find out what's going to be going on in your living rooms at halftime with Reese Davis.
All right, guys, coming up on the Pontiac Performance Halftime Report, Florida gets by in a squeaker again. We'll examine what that does to the Gators' hopes of being that one-loss team in the title game. We know this much: they're better off than West Virginia, who got knocked around at home against South Florida. We'll show you what went wrong for the Mountaineers and what it means for the other Big East hopefuls to get into the big BCS mix, and also look ahead to USC and Notre Dame coming up tonight in the Coliseum. It's all coming up. Mark May and Lou Holtz will join me in just a few seconds.
All right, Reese, thank you very much. Got lots to talk about in this half as well, as the officials have begun to become a factor in the last couple of minutes. A controversial overturn of a fumble by the replay official, and then a couple of calls that have hurt Louisville. And they've lost 2 touchdowns so far in this half on penalties.
And that last one, it was 3rd down and 1. You tack on the penalty. Now it's 3rd and 11, and Pitt has a great opportunity here to force a field goal. Now, I think they need to bring pressure, though. They've tried rushing with just 4 and covering with 7. They haven't been able to do it. They need to blitz on this down, in my opinion.
3rd down at about 11. They get to the 5. You see between the 5 and the 6-yard lines, we'll get to the 1st down.
Here they come.
They did it, but it's picked up. Braum running out of time and just threw it away.
Good coverage in the secondary. No one with any separation. Braum moving around the pocket a little bit to avoid some of those rushers. Nobody to throw the ball to, has to dump it out of bounds.
And Bobby Petrino having a beef with an official. Looking for his 39th win at Louisville. This will be a 32-yard kick for maybe the hottest kicker in the country, Carmody. Made 16 straight.
Blades.
It is blocked by Blades. Who else for Pitt? He wanted to have a big day as a senior, and he's done it. Well, you couldn't even see, Ray. He got in there so fast you couldn't even see the holder.
It was unbelievable. Nobody touched him. Right up the middle, nobody touched him. That's a grievous error by that field goal team. And Blades just comes from depth. Here he is. He's going to come from depth, and you're going to see him. Actually, he's going to run up inside there, and the left guard blocks outside. The center blocks down on the nose, and they leave a huge gap for Blades to run through untouched. He almost took it off the tee.
I was going to say, you normally, look at the angle, you normally never see a kick blocked that quickly. So now Pitt, clock running on them already, so they've only got about 20 seconds. Not sure if they're going to be able to do a whole lot here.
Bobby Petrino's still upset over those 2 holding calls that cost him a touchdown.
Oh, intercepted, dropped. That would have been yet another wild turnaround, but Rod Counsell couldn't hang on.
Boy, it hit him right between the 1 and the 4, too. Another mistake by Tyler Palko. He got away with that one.
Have we had enough action for everybody in the last couple of minutes? Everybody satisfied?
I'll tell you what, Big East football has taken some lumps over the years, but I think they've come back great this year, and they've got some of the top teams in the country.
It's reflected in the standings, although West Virginia took one on the chin today, as Reese told you. He'll tell you all about that at halftime. And they'll play it safe here. Let's run Collins and undoubtedly run out the clock. This has been a crazy first half, especially the last couple of minutes. Louisville will go into the dressing room with the 7-point advantage. Our halftime score has Louisville in front 24-17. Now let's join Reese Davis. Time for the Pontiac Performance halftime reports.
Entertaining, hard-hitting first half. Louisville with BCS aspirations, up by a touchdown on Pittsburgh. Lou Holtz and Mark May are here, and
either as HP Blades came and blocked that kick. That was huge. Pitt's going to get the ball first with a chance to tie this thing up here early in the third.
They didn't protect Tyler Palko nearly as well in the second quarter as in the first. What do they have to do?
Well, I think they have to go back to that short passing game that they were working out early on with the 1-step drop, the 3-step, get it out quick, negate that rush, and try to make plays after the catch.
And the Panthers in their gold senior day. Tyler Palko's last opportunity to play in front of the home folks. And Pitt trying to get to a bowl game. If they win this, they'll get 7 and they'll be in. And at 6-6, well, you don't know if they'll be in a bowl game. As Dave said, joke with us, we've been bowl eligible for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And they started out their season 6-1. So here's Robinson. I tell you one thing, Louisville's done a very good job with their kick coverage, but they are not completely happy. And Bobby Petrino spoke with our Vince Welch earlier, and the coach said what made him angry about the first half.
We needed to get some points out of the break. We got a couple touchdowns called back. I'd like to see the penalties. I'd like to see them on video. And then we got the field goal blocked at the end. Our defense has got to play in the second half. Offensively, we're moving the ball. We just got to get it in the end zone.
Thanks, Coach.
And the intensity of Bobby Petrino right there. We had some flags after the play.
Dead ball, personal foul. Pittsburgh, number 1. Dead ball, Holster foul on Louisville, number 46. Penalties offset, first down.
That's Terrence Butler for Louisville and Cedric McGee for Pittsburgh hit with those penalties. Well, 11 points, 2 touchdowns, and we're assuming the extra points will be made because they have an excellent kicker. And, of course, they got a field goal out of one of their canceled touchdowns, but the other canceled touchdown led to a blocked field goal. So here is Tyler Palko's last half at home in his college career. They fake the reverse. Stevens howling, and he'll maybe get a couple of yards there. Let's get to the first half stats, and they're brought to you by Remington. Ray, anything you see here that really jumps out?
Nah, it's a pretty even ball game, you know. It's kind of, you see what's on the scoreboard, and it does reflect in the statistics right now. The turnovers, pretty much even. You know, you throw that blocked field goal in there as a turnover, and then it would be even. So, pretty even ball game.
Second down and 8. Stevens howling the tailback. There's that 3-step drop. It was so successful, they throw out to their right and get a first down. So that side in particular, Ray, of that field, they have worked over and over again. Oderick Turner on the stop. Good catch.
And you're going to see Turner up top here just run a little slant route, and he comes off slow to kind of to keep that distance, because that corner's going to backpedal, and if you run fast, you're going to run right into him. He wanted to create and keep that separation so we could step inside for that slant, and then Tyler Palko accurate with the football.
Gavin Smart on the stop. Collier into the tailback spot now. He carried a couple of times in the first half, not this time. Palko again. Here's some room. Into Louisville territory. That's Stevens howling. His 16th catch of the year results in 29 Panthers yards.
Oh, and Stephen Howling is an excellent receiver, not to mention a pretty good running back. He's going to be right here. You're going to see him run up, and there's going to be a huge cushion between him and the man that's assigned to cover him. You see the back pedal, and he breaks underneath it, and there's some uncertainty there by Brandon Sharp as far as covering, and he didn't jump that receiver right away. Well, you get a guy that open and who's that quick in the field, you're going to get some good run after the catch yards.
So we wondered how would the Panthers respond when they open up this third quarter, and we're getting a pretty good answer. Palko under fire, lobs it downfield, and missed his man, Nate Byam, the freshman tight end of the game. I think Palko is just perfectly satisfied in having that ball go out of bounds.
We'll take a look at the passing chart from Palko, and you look at all these short routes that he's been throwing out to each side, and he's been really good to his right. 8 for 8 over there, and the majority of those are those one-step, just quick fires out there, get the ball to that receiver, take advantage of the cushion, and let him make a move. And they've made a lot of plays and a lot of yards running that kind of a scheme.
Could be changing the play here. Does the quarterback really ever do that just for show?
Yeah, you'll do it for show. You kind of dummy it up once in a while, because you don't want them to get into exactly what your audibles are.
Well, that play was just completely destroyed by Malik Jackson, the junior from Dunwoody, Georgia. Down to the sidelines, and Vince Welch.
Ray Bentley talking about how Palko is finding the right man, and they're turning those plays into some big yardage. Palko and Matt Cavanaugh, the offensive coordinator, spent a lot of time watching tape of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in the offseason, studying how those two quarterbacks manage the game. And Cavanaugh says he's really seen improvement from Palko in that regard of managing the game from all of that studying of Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in the offseason.
See if he can manage 3rd down and 10. Louisville walking up a few bodies to the line. They brought one. It was blocked. It's going to be 4th down and 10. So we'll get a look at Adam Gressel, one of the better punters in the nation. The 11th in the country, in fact, in net punting.
Pitt able to move the ball a little bit, but stalled out here. But they will have field position after this, you would think. Louisville went to that blitz 3 times on that drive. They decided to heat it back up.
Trent Guy, the wide receiver. Back deep to return this punt around his 10-yard line. Trying to aim this one. This is really high. That's a fine punt. That is really going to work out well for the Pitt Panthers.
Better than that.
That's unbelievable. There you see the beanbag to mark where that ball is going to wind up. And exactly after the 39-yard kick, how much territory Louisville will have to cover. Well, let's get to our game track presented by John Hancock, and this is the controversial play, Ray.
Yeah, and I still dispute the indisputable evidence. I think this is a catch. I think he makes a football move when he goes to tuck the ball away. That's a football move.
However,
right.
They had a happy ending for the Pitt Panthers because of H.B. Blades again.
Well, Blades said, all right, you won't give me the forced fumble. I'll just go block a field goal, and we'll finish it that way.
And we'll give you the explanation from the replay booth following this snap. Anthony Allen is the tailback. And he'll get it out to the 7-yard line. Now, we did contact and Blades, of course, again on the stopper, so it seems he's in on every play. We did contact the replay official, and his explanation was, Nick Trainer was his name, that it was not an issue of control, but it was the fact that he thought that there was not a football move made. And that was the opinion of the replay official as to why that call was overturned. We, in the first half, quickly thought it was the correct call made on the field and disagreed with the replay official. But I needed to find out from you, Ray, in a moment what he could have meant by that, by football move.
I wish I could tell you.
That's Brock Boland. He slipped a little bit and wasn't going to go very far anyway. Joe Claremont has played very well, the junior from Tampa. Well, anyway, people at home, they're going to be wondering, what's a football move?
A football move, in my estimation, is a football move. I mean, it's pretty nebulous as far as what it could be, but I think the interpretation is to make a football move, he had to have time to get his feet settled, see the defender, and try to put a move on him. Now, to me, the football move was he caught the ball and he switched arms with it. To me, and he had 2 feet hit the ground. That's a football move. When you're moving the ball around, he obviously had the football. I thought it was a legitimate forced fumble.
3rd down and 6. Brown trying to work out of his end zone, and he gets them the first down. The receiving core for Louisville, Douglas, who made the catch there, and Urrutia having big days. 14 yards and a first down for the Cardinals.
Yeah, and Pitt is still yet to get after the quarterback, Brown. They have not hit him all day long, and if you're going to not get that kind of pressure on Brian Brown, he will pick you apart, and that's what he's been doing.
Looks like Duncan may have gotten a piece of this pass, and he did actually. He got 2 big claws on that and was not able to knock it to the ground.
Wow, so look how he's rushing, Dave. He's not even trying to put pressure. He's trying to get into a throwing lane and get his hands up.
They almost hit Brown from the backside. That's one of his few poor throws of the evening. Brings up 2nd down and 10. Brian Bennett providing the pressure there from the linebacker spot. The senior getting the start today.
And you see Pitt now trying to get mix a blitz or 2 in there to get a little pressure on Brown. They realize, you know, it's kind of how do you want to die? You know, you could blitz and let him carve you up because you can't cover one-on-one. You don't match the speed up very well across the board. Or you don't blitz and you try to play zone and you give Brown time to find the guy. It's a tough way to deal with things.
And Brown doing the walk up to the line, changes the play from the shotgun to under center. And they check off to the run, and it seemed like a pretty good idea as Colby Smith dragging Rashad Duncan all the way to the first down marker. It looks like he may have been given the first down.
Yeah, and they ran this play right into a blitz from the outside, and it was 2 ships in the night. Smith blew right past it.
Well, one thing we've noticed, and it's been flawless so far, and Brian Brown had a thumb injury. In fact, he had thumb surgery in September on the 17th, and he's actually changed the way he takes the center snap to protect that thumb, although the thumb is fine, but I guess it's just like changing your putting grip. Once you get used to it, you stick with it if it works.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get a look at that and be able to show you exactly what we're talking about in terms of his hand position.
Barnage got some room to work here. And fought off kind of not a complete tackle that time as the defender, Clint Session, went for the hit and not the wrap, and it cost him a few yards. 15-yard pickup that time for Gary Barnage, who averages, this is outstanding for a tight end, about 18 yards per catch.
Now, we talked about Brian Brown and his thumb injury, and it's amazing to me how quickly he came back from that. You know, missing just 2 ball games. That's a lot of healing to me, is your mind. How quickly do you want to be back? And obviously he wanted to get back in a hurry.
Looks like Pitt brought some pressure that time. On the go to the fullback. And Brock Boland. 25-20. He uses the stiff arm and all the way down inside the 15-yard line. No flags on that play. They're going to be down to the 13-yard line. The sophomore from Germantown, Ohio, who did not play last year because of injuries, burns the Pitt defense.
He catches him in a blitz, and then there's no linebacker to fold over the top to make that play. So once you get through that first line of defenders, now you're off and running into the open field. And the big guy Boland shows you he's got some moves, and he does carry the ball pretty good. Well, 6.5 yards per carry.
I was going to say, though, it's got to drive you crazy. If you're Pitt, you're always worried about Smith and Urrutia and Douglas, and then the fullback kills you. Well, this time they get him back. He loses yards on that. All right, Ray, take us through what we're talking about here with the hands and Brom.
Well, there's Brom, and it's that thumb. It's his right thumb, his top thumb. And so you're going to see how he kind of overlaps the thumbs, which is kind of different. Most quarterbacks will take their thumbs and they'll put them together like this. He's overlapping them so that when he takes that ball, there's no pressure on that hurt thumb, that right thumb, that throwing finger, throwing hand thumb. And so he's gone to a different way to receive the snap in order to protect himself.
Loss of 2 on that brings up 2nd and 12, but Louisville so deadly in in the red zone. They go to Urrutia. He's got a chance to score, and he will get the first down, it looks like, but that will be all. But that's enough, actually. That's a 13-yard pickup.
Well, he's a tough guy to cover. And when he runs a crossing route, you just don't have people with the speed to keep up with him. You see him get beat. He beats Brady again running across the field. And, they just don't have the speed to match up with him on those underneath crossing routes. The only time they really got him, and that was actually a different receiver, H.B. Blades, sits in the middle and headhunts. And that's what you have to do. You have to have somebody on that backside looking out for it.
10th play of the drive for the Cardinals. And that's Allen, and he won't get it. Or will he?
I don't know. They're gonna call it.
Yeah, they blew the whistle.
Great effort, though, huh?
He didn't quit. I'm sure his coaches will be pleased with him on that, but that's going to get it down to about the 1. Anthony Allen, who had a touchdown called back earlier. Sam Bryant making the stop, and also Kennard Cox in that wrestling match down there.
That'll make it 2nd and goal.
And Anthony Allen has got a nose for the end zone. He's got 10 touchdowns, and they love him down in this area because of the kind of effort that he gives, like we saw in that last play.
This drive is going to go about 98 yards if they can get it in the end zone, and they do. Touchdown, Louisville. What an impressive way to start your offense out as Barnage gets his 2nd touchdown of the season. And by the way, no flags.
This is just a bootleg, and you lose track of the tight end because everybody's so geared up to stop the run. Now, there's the tight end on the backside. You're also going to get the fullback running through to the flat. That tight end's going to come over here, and he's going to end up wide open on the backside. See Barnage get through there? Nobody from the front side's looking for him. Nobody's got him man-to-man. Great play call by Bobby Petrino down there.
His brother may be the offensive coordinator, Paul Petrino, but Bobby calls all the plays, and he dialed up a touchdown for his 8th-ranked Louisville Cardinals. 31-17 now. Can the Pitt Panthers do something as Brian Brom has thrown his 10th touchdown pass of the season?
For 3 days, 2 fierce conferences lay it all on the line.
What a beauty! 2 heavyweights!
The ACC Big Ten Challenge. The journey begins.
And Pittsburgh 17. We're at Heinz Field in downtown Pittsburgh. Yes, all those yellow seats mean you are at the home of the Pittsburgh Steelers, and one of 6 fields shared by Division 1A schools and NFL schools. A couple of them indoors, also the Saints and the Vikings. The Bucs have that beautiful Raymond James Stadium, Chargers and San Diego State, and the new Lincoln Financial Field for the Owls and the Eagles.
And I would say that Pittsburgh has as close a relationship with their NFL parent team, if you will, than any of the others. They have the same practice facility. They share the buildings there. They obviously share this stadium, but there's a nice synergy between the two.
Very short kickoff, and that will bring Robinson up to nearly the 10-yard line. Now, Louisville has really bottled him up. 30-yard average, and he just didn't get very far at all. Only 17 yards on the return. Well, we always talk about what kind of adjustments do coaches make at halftime and all that. Look at Louisville in the 3rd quarter, what they have done this season.
Yeah, that's just an amazing number there. 98 points to 22 for your opponent, and what that tells you is that your coaching staff's pretty good. They'll go in there and make some really nice adjustments at halftime, and then your players pick up on it as well. You got a corner blitz coming. You fake it.
Oh, and this is intercepted by Gay. And all of a sudden, the bottom is beginning to fall out of the Panthers' chances of winning this football game. Their defense has been put into a bad hole.
Well, Palco saw what I saw. The corner, William Gay, sneaking up. So he's thinking, okay, I got that corner blitz. There he is right there. But he backed out instead. And Palco didn't recognize it. And he threw it right to William Gay. That's a nice bluff by Gay on the corner blitz, and then backs out right into the throwing lane. That's a heck of a play. That's a good call up top, too, by the defensive coordinator, Mike Cassidy.
That is Gay's team-leading 5th interception and gives the Cardinals killer field position at the 24-yard line. Stripling the back, goes in motion. Why not go to Urrutia? You have all day with great success. And he is wrestled out of bounds by Kennard Cox.
Brian Brom is just an impressive quarterback. He just makes every throw. The accuracy, I think, is the thing that differentiates him from others. He puts the ball right where it needs to be most of the time, and especially when he has time to throw.
And he has had time all day.
Yeah, he's had a couple of balls tipped, but other than that, he hasn't been hit, has not been sacked. Got a clean jersey down there.
Bolin in from the fullback spot. He had a big run earlier. This time they were waiting for him. No gain, and he did not get the first down. Well, Eric Wood, we've talked about him, the ability at center, a sophomore from Cincinnati. And Vince, this is an interesting story. This guy has a lot of responsibility on his shoulders.
Yeah, Dave, all the line calls in the Cardinals running game are made by Eric Wood. He made his 23rd consecutive start here today, but what makes that number amazing is that he's just a sophomore. Wood was a freshman when he stepped into the starting lineup last year. Pretty rare in college football to have a freshman as your starting center.
Well, with a good play action fake, dumped off the pass to tight end coming out, and it will be a first down. Session on the stop on Scott Kuhn. That is Kuhn's 7th catch of the season, and it will move the chains for the Cardinals.
You know, we're talking about Eric Wood. Last year he was surrounded by veterans when he was just a freshman. Now, as a sophomore, believe it or not, he is the veteran, but the coaches were telling us he's smart, he's talented, experienced, and he's going to be around a while now, just a sophomore, and that's certainly good news for this Louisville offense. He does a good job. He talked about Brian Brom having his jersey cleaned tonight, and that's one of the reasons why is 77 Eric Wood.
In the red zone again, Louisville about 96%. They may get another touchdown. They do. That is Spillman. Jawan Spillman, the freshman from Louisville, gets his first touchdown of the season on a 13-yard carry, and now the Cardinals have busted this one open.
Boy, that's just the speed of Spillman winning the race around the edge. They had good blocking over there on that edge, but he hit the gas pedal, and there was nobody from Pitt who could catch him.
Art Carmody beyond attack on the PAT. Louisville in the red zone this year has only missed 3 times, and they are perfect today. 38-17, and now the real challenge on Tyler Palko is to find a way to get the Panthers back in this game.
Take a look at this touchdown. You're going to see here's Spillman. He's just going to come around and outrace everybody. It's kind of a jet sweep type thing. He's got a little lead from the fullback out that way, Stripling, and that's just speed getting to the edge.
It is the holiday season around Pittsburgh. We welcome you to Heinz Field in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, with the Panthers taking on 8th-ranked Louisville. I'm Dave Lamont, along with Ray Bentley and Vince Welch. And the numbers on the quarterback, Brian Brom, nearly flawless today. Tyler Palko's got to play catch-up now. Can his Panthers find a way?
Well, if you're going to play catch-up, you might as well play it at Heinz Field.
I'm speechless.
and I'm apologetic.
I think our audience may be happy that I'm speechless, but wow. Ray Bentley, everyone, just make note of that. Ray Bentley. Robinson on the kickoff. They have bottled him up pretty well, but he might make a move here and get outside. And he gets it out to the 29-yard line. Some hard-earned yards that time on the kick return of 27 yards. Flannery on the stop. Well, here we go. Pete Carroll has USC competing for another spot in the BCS championship game. And tonight they face a tough task as Charlie Weiss's Fighting Irish head to the Coliseum. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Rivalry Week presented by Remington on ABC. For more information, log on to ESPN.com. There's a little history there. SC's won the last 4, and of course the twisty Matt Leinart run. Pete Carroll can't beat him in November, and of course Brady Quinn, the outstanding Irish quarterback, as Stevens Howling kind of hiding in that pile a little bit there. Ray, what do you like about this game tonight, and who do you like?
Boy, this is a tough one for me to call. You know, you think USC, after that stumble early, they've really gotten it together and playing well, but Notre Dame's been playing well, but they haven't been playing a lot of stiff competition, so it'd be interesting to see how they come out. I guess I would have to say USC because they're at home if I had to pick.
2nd down and 5. Somebody accused Notre Dame of playing stiffs in competition lately, but not stiff competition.
I wouldn't go that far.
Stevens Howling just shy of the first down. It looked like Gay wrapped him up right about at the marker, and they're going to call him definitely short by almost a full yard.
You know, I like the confidence that Matt Cavanaugh has in his offense, though. You know, all of a sudden you're down by this many, 4 minutes or so left in the 3rd quarter, and he's not trying to air it out. You know, you run the ball up the middle a couple of times, stick to the plan, keep going. You don't have to panic yet at this point, even though you're down 21.
Stevens Howling again at the top of the eye. Lyon, the tight end, in motion. And that's a first down. And more. Stevens Howling continuing to pump the legs even after being hit.
I'm telling you, he's little, but he plays big. And you know, the other thing about a small back, a 5'7" back, is that he's sometimes hard to see. And so you're not going to get the good, clean shot at him coming up as a linebacker or a secondary guy because you don't see him soon enough. So a lot of times it gives that back an advantage in terms of breaking those tackles.
You see the numbers on Stevens Howling. He had 3 touchdowns in a game this year versus Central Florida and ran for 221 against Syracuse. It's a dart of a pass broken up by Gay. Let's go to the studios and join Reese Davis.
All right, guys, every week we honor the singular All-America Player of the Week, and you can certainly make your voice heard. All you have to do, text vote to 87654 on your singular wireless phone to access the nominees for the singular All-America Player of the Week. And when you do that, you can enter to win a chance to win a trip to the national championship game.
All right, Reese, thank you much. Hope a lot of you jump on that opportunity.
And fake corner blitz again, or is he going to come?
He does. And they block it very well. Palco, though, is going to have to take it down. And he picked up 7 on the play. Preston Smith went for the high tackle. Brings up a pretty big third down now. Pittsburgh's offense is going to have to be flawless the rest of the way.
Louisville has now blitzed 13 times this afternoon, which is really, I think, fewer than what they normally will do. And when you get a team that's coming out and throwing the ball so quick like Pitt started this game, it takes you out of your blitz. You know, there's no sense in blitzing if the quarterback's getting rid of the ball on a 1 or 3-step drop.
Pitt going with 2 tight ends here. They use Collins actually as a tight end, the fullback. He's the open receiver, and Palco tried to thread that through and just couldn't get it done. Gay again in on the coverage, may have gotten a hand on that pass. So now
you got to go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say 4th and 3. Dave Wannstedt has been not at all shy about using 4th down as an opportunity. In fact, Gay almost took that thing all the way in.
Yeah, that was a bad decision by Palco right there. There were 3 defenders between him and the intended receiver, and he just tried to jam that thing in there. But I like this decision here, and I think what you want to do is get Palco out on the edge and give him a run-pass option.
But if you're Louisville, if you make the stop, you have to think that you're going to maybe win the game right here, potentially, if you make this stop. And they do.
Interference.
Yep. Thought he may have reached over William Gay. He's been involved in quite a few plays in this half, and he'll be called for the interference.
Yeah, he got that left arm wrapped around the intended receiver before the ball got there.
And Bobby Petrino isn't complaining.
Pass interference on the defense. Number 21. Ball be placed at the spot of the infraction. Automatic. First down.
Well, maybe he is complaining. At first, I thought that he had accepted that call, but let's see if he has any reason to complain.
No, he doesn't. You're going to see it right there. He's got his left arm wrapped around Kinder way before the ball got there, and you saw him point him to himself. He knew he had that one.
So the Panthers now 3 for 3 on 4th down conversions. That one via penalty. Under pressure. Well, nice job to avoid the potential sack. Still going. Terrence Butler had a clean opportunity back at the 50-yard line. Would have been an enormous loss, but Tyler Palco, reverting back to the form of a couple of years ago, was able to at least sneak away for 2 yards and keep this drive going.
Well, they had the perfect defense called on this one. As he's got the bootleg. He's playing it all the way, but Palco shows you a little bit of shiftiness, the ability to make people miss back there and then run it afterwards. I really like Palco. I think he's going to be a good player at the next level.
You see the numbers. The touchdown pass for Pitt today was thrown by the wide receiver, Kinder. And his numbers have shrunk a little bit. Under pressure, stepped up. Nicely done that time. And there is Kinder, shy of the first down. Brings up 3rd down and 2.
And again, Louisville just coming with that corner blitz. And this time they don't fool Palco. They got him on an interception earlier. You're going to see the corner blitz here. Receiver's going to see it and come in right behind it. and that's what you want. They call that throwing hot. You throw it right in behind Gay, who the corner where he came from, and the guy who has to make that coverage is going to be the safety over the top. So anything underneath, you're going to have a fairly easy pitch and catch, which is what they did.
And notice also Palko took that step up and got away from the pressure too, and that gave him that extra beat he needed to complete the pass. Here comes everybody. And they really hammered him that time. And Louisville trying to say that it was a fumble, but the officials are calling it an incomplete pass. Brings up another 4th down that the Panthers are probably going to have to go for, as John Russell was right in Palko's chin strap.
Boy, and they missed an opportunity there because the tight end Steve Bucas was open. He had a step down the middle, and if Russell doesn't get there, it might have given Palko time to see that and make that long throw, because he was definitely open with Bucas.
So here we go. They're 3 out of 3 on 4th downs, and the clock is stopped by one of the officials. I don't believe a timeout was called. I think they're re-spotting the football. Of course, that gives the quarterback a few extra seconds to run over there, talk to his coordinator. And Palko in this half, 3 out of 10 for 45 and an interception. So again, to use the poker expression, the Panthers go all in.
The big bootleg down. You got a couple tight ends up top.
Here comes a heavy blitz. And it's knocked away. Coverage by Abe Brown that time as they try to go to Nate Byam. And the Panthers cannot convert on their 4th attempt at 4th down. Louisville in control at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. Definition on ESPN HD, and for more information just log on to ESPN.com. There you see our situation here at Heinz Field. Louisville now with the ball again after forcing for the first time today Pittsburgh to not convert on 4th down. Bobby Petrino, the play caller. And Louisville has only punted once, and that was back at the beginning of the game when they could not move the football. They have not punted since then.
Right, first possession of the ball game, they went 3 and out. But since then, it's been kind of running up and down the field. And speaking of the field, it hasn't really affected the play very much.
And they'll continue to put it up. And again, he has all day. And that's going to be a 1st down and more. Brady on the stop as they go to Durante Taylor, the senior from Montgomery, Alabama. Durante Taylor making a 21-yard play out of that. Now, Ray referred to the field. If you're just joining us, there were 4 high school football games played on Friday here at Heinz Field. And there was some talk that the field was just going to be as we have a Panthers player shaken up. And that, in effect, is Jameel Brady. That you see the middle of the field is brown. I mean, there's no other way to describe it. And there was some concern that this was going to lead to maybe some injuries or at least slow Louisville down, but that has not happened.
No, the footing has been pretty good, and I think the reason they rolled this thing, and so it's a hard surface, and there's just a little enough dirt on top, loose dirt, that you can get good footing from your cleats.
Yeah, there was some substances placed on the field to try to make it look just a little bit better as we try to find out what happened to Brady. Well, that's what happened to him. He got hit by a 239-pound runaway freight train. Brady giving up about 35 pounds on that exchange. Big game for Louisville. They do not control their destiny in the Big East. Now, West Virginia really took a crippling loss today to South Florida. But Louisville's got to win out, and they play Connecticut next week. And Connecticut, ask Pitt about them. They could spoil your day. And then Louisville needs some help from West Virginia to beat Rutgers. They go to Allen. Another huge hit. With a helmet popper that time. Is coming away without his hat. Clint Session. So the Panthers still hitting fiercely when they get the opportunity.
Yeah, but they're going to have to make it work for them in terms of knocking a ball loose. You know, they got to come up with some kind of play if they have any hopes of coming back in this ball game. It rests on the defense making stops or forcing turnovers.
2nd and long. Then they'll go to Colby Smith this time, and all over him as the Pitt defense. Mike Phillips made the first hit, and H.B. Blades came over to help polish him off. But that will be the end of the first quarter as Louisville is in command here. 38-17. 3 quarters in the books here at Heinz Field in Pittsburgh. We'll find out if the Cardinals can put this game away and get Bobby Petrino a 10th win on the year. You're watching college football on ESPN.
The Packers clash with the Seahawks.
Kind of reminding me of the way Pittsburgh played against West Virginia, Ray. Great, competitive, exciting first half. Second half, their offense went away, and West Virginia pulled away. And now it's happening here.
Right, and they have the trouble with contending with a lot of speed on the perimeter over 4 quarters.
3rd down and 4 here. Stripling the back. Little shovel pass. And that's Spillman, and he has the first down.
Shovel pass goes to 26, Juwan Spillman.
So Juwan Spillman, who's made 1 big touchdown already with a big play there, because that means Pitt is going to have to suffer through some more plays unless they can force a turnover. Kenzie Matthews in on the stop.
First down. Play carries to the 33-yard line. 8-5. First down and 10.
Ryan Brom today has passed Stephon LaFours for number 4 all-time in Louisville pass yards. And that's Stripling. Nobody's touched him yet. They finally shove him out of bounds after almost getting the first down. Well, Bedlam 101 continues. Reese Davis has the latest. Reese.
And boy, it came right down to the end. Oklahoma up 27-21 on Oklahoma State. Zach Robinson in at quarterback, firing for DeJuan Woods, and he can't quite catch it. Oklahoma goes to the Big 12 championship game, 27-21 the final.
They went to Oklahoma State. That's a fine season for Mike Gundy's squad there to go down to the very end.
Yeah, I think the future is very bright there for the Cowboys.
2nd and short. And this play will never happen. Find out, did Pitt jump or were they induced?
They definitely jumped.
Yeah, you're right about that. Did they have help?
The question is, were they induced?
Dead ball. Offsides. On the defense. It was contact. Number 93. 5-yard penalty will result in a first down.
And this is a nice job again by the center, Eric Wood. You see him, number 77 right there. He's going to see him in that neutral zone, and then you snap it immediately. Quarterback takes a knee, and you count your 5 yards.
And it gives a first down to the Cardinals.
First and 10 from the Pitt 19.
Mustakas with a mistake out of Cooper City. That's a South Florida town near Fort Lauderdale. Again, Brom, and this time he's got room. Well, they'll hit him here. No, they won't, actually. He still managed to avoid being hit. Gets 9 on that scramble. Bennett forced him down.
Dave, you probably noticed, you see the hand holding that goes on here by this offensive line by Louisville, and this is a great way to help out your offensive tackles, because usually you got to look in. You see that where the eyes are looking, that tackle does not have to look in at the ball. He knows when to go. He can keep his eyes outside and keep him on rushers. He knows when to go as the guard looks in at the ball, and when he moves that hand, then the tackle knows as well. He doesn't have to cheat his eyesight inside. He can look up at the rushers.
Plenty of time again for Brom as he buys time and throws the dart flag down, and it's a touchdown for Scott Kuhn. But Louisville's had 2 touchdowns wiped out by penalties already, so I'm sure on that sideline they're not going to celebrate just yet.
Yeah, they've seen it. They've seen it a couple of times already. They're going to make sure.
Pass interference on the offense.
There you go.
Number 7. 15-yard penalty from the previous line of scrimmage. Replay 2nd down.
Well, they finally found something that Mario Rucci didn't do well. That penalty is on him, but that is another touchdown wiped out.
Well, here's Urruti on the outside. He's going to run an inside route and try and screen the defender right there. And the thing that got him was the push off at the end. That wasn't a pick like you normally see, but it was a push off, and I don't know. That's a tough one to call to me. It really didn't affect the play. He wasn't the intended receiver. You seldom see that in that situation.
That would be 18 points lost to penalties today by Louisville. 3rd touchdown called back because of a penalty against them. And nothing happens on that play there. Bolin wrapped up very, very quickly by Mackenzie Matthews, among others. Well, they've had poor luck with the officials today. Rashad Duncan also in there. So think of where we would be if not for that. Brings up 3rd down, and they've got about 16 to go. Matthews only a freshman. 18 seniors in their last game for the Pitt Panthers today here at Heinz Field. Just gunned it in there, but knocked away. Good coverage that time on Arudia. Kennard Cox was in on that group. Adam Gunn also.
Yeah, big square in route by Arudia, and he got to the chains. Had he caught it, it would have been a first down. But good defense there by Cox.
And you would think that Art Carmody would be the man to call on here, and here he comes. His streak of consecutive field goals was snapped when one was blocked today. He had 16 in a row at one point. The block was unbelievable because of the way that H.B. Blades was able to roll right into the middle. I'm going to assume that they're going to make an adjustment on that as he goes for 43 yards, 42 yards out.
There's Blades right there.
And they blocked him this time, and the field goal is good. So it's going to be that much harder for the Pitt Panthers to come back at home as they trail by 24 at Heinz Field on ESPN College Football. Passes 9, 10, and 11 on the season. No interceptions. Hasn't even been hit.
That's an amazing thing to me. And when you get your quarterback, you've gone 3 quarters and change, and he hasn't been hit yet, your offensive line is playing pretty well.
Robinson and Porter back deep for the Panthers. Here's where they really need Robinson. Very dangerous kick returner to bust one here, at least give the Panthers some good field position. Hasn't happened yet today. They've done a good job covering these kicks. It'll be Porter a couple of yards deep. Got a hole here, though. He can get around the corner. He got a block. It's Porter. And it's the kicker who helps run him down. Stop made there by Travis Norton, but also a great job that time by Todd Flannery to keep that thing from going all the way. That's a 57-yard return. Pete Carroll has them ready. USC competing for another shot at the national championship. Tonight, however, it's a tough task. Charlie Weiss's Fighting Irish going to LA in the Coliseum. It's Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Rivalry Week. That's presented by Remington on ABC. And also you can log on to ESPN.com for more information. Stevens Howling stands aside the quarterback. And Palco now got to air it out, you'd think. Blitz is picked up nicely. Stevens Howling. It's a little bit short of the first down. Let's find out what's going on with Georgia and Georgia Tech. Reese?
Georgia and Georgia Tech, guys, been hard-hitting defensive struggle all day. Tashard Choice is over 100 yards again and into the end zone. Jackets up by 5 halfway through the 4th.
And Pitt went to the no huddle here, and Stevens Howling will get a first down. Not a surprise to see that at all there, Ray.
No, you have to pull out all the stops now. I mean, you got to make up 24 points here in 12 minutes and 12 seconds. So you can't waste your time with a huddle at this point.
Clock stopped momentarily for the first down change being moved, but it starts up again. Haven't seen Pitt throw to Kinder very much in this half lately, and they don't here, but they get it right about to the line with Bucas, and it looks like a first down for the senior out of Pittsburgh.
Yeah, early on, Kinder was a big part of the plan, and they were getting the ball to him on a lot of quick stuff and catching Louisville and all the blitzing that they'd done. But Louisville got away from that. They started putting more people out in coverage, and they took that part of the game plan away from Pitt.
And Bucas took himself away from the field, shaken up momentarily. We hope he'll return quickly. Catch was finally made by Turner, and he has a chance to go all the way, and it could be, and it is a Panthers touchdown. So there is still a little bit of hope at Heinz Field. 22 yards.
10th missed tackle of the day allowed Turner to break it into the end zone. He just ran a little hitch route out there on the outside. Pelko saw him, no coverage near, so he threw the bullet. And then, you know, the outside in cut is what really busted it loose for Derek Turner.
Leon for the PAT. 41-24 our score.
There's Turner up top. You see him just turn it around and hitch it up. Breaks this tackle right here after the bobble. And then it's a foot race, and he splits a couple of defenders and gets himself into the end zone. It's not over for the Pitt Panthers just yet.
We're over in there somewhere. Heinz Field across the river. Suck. When you have to mention a river around here, you better be very specific. Part of the confluence, the Ohio, the Monongahela, and the Allegheny, and I did that without notes. Thank you very much. With Vince Welch, who's downstairs, Ray Bentley upstairs, I'm Dave Lamont. We thank you for joining us. Hope you've had a fantastic Thanksgiving weekend. Louisville trying to pick up their 10th win on the year and continue their Big East title hopes. And Tyler Palko, we talked about this at the beginning of the show, has passed as big a name as you're ever going to get in anybody's college football program. Look who's third now. Look who's second. Tyler Palko passing Dan Marino. Now he's going to have to play about 3 more years to get to Alex Van Pelt.
Alex had a pretty good career here as far as running up the yards.
And how about the guy next to Marino? Heard of him. Another small back that did well at Pitt.
Part of that national championship team back in 1976. Current offensive coordinator Matt Cavanaugh, the quarterback. Dave Wanstadt was a graduate assistant on the staff here back then.
And Louisville is anticipating an onside kick here.
Yeah, and rightly so. And I don't know, with 11:34 left, down 17, he might give it a try.
Until the officials let you. And Louisville calls a timeout. So Bobby Petrino had some of his best receivers in there and was moving a few bodies around and just said, you know what, forget it. I'm up by 17. I've got a timeout. I am not going to take any chances here. I want to make sure my team is prepared. Well, 1976 is the glory year here in Pittsburgh. It was their last national championship, and they had a little talent, Ray.
Yeah, they did. There's Mr. Dorsett, or was it Dorset back then? I'm not sure. He kind of changed it around, but you can change your name when you can run the football like this. I'll tell you that right now. And he was an outstanding football player, won the Heisman, and led this program to a national championship, their 9th overall.
And of course in 1976, Gerald Ford, president. I love the price of gas.
Good old days, boy.
Boy, not one of my favorite Wings songs, though, I've got to be honest with you. And of course right there, Tony Dorsett. Paul McCartney's done better than that.
What's wrong with silly love songs, man? That's a great silly love song.
Yeah, you're right. Silly is exactly the word. Paul kind of went soft for a little while there after the Beatles. Well, with an update, perhaps even an opinion on which Beatle he liked the best, let's go to Reese Davis. Reese?
Ringo, I think, and I need to see the May 73 banner up there. Boise State and Nevada. Boise trying to lock up a spot in the BCS game. Jared Zabransky, Legadoo, Nene, touchdown. Boise State up 31-7 late in the third.
All right, thank you, Reese. So he's a Ringo man, a fan of Richard Starkey.
Well, they changed the alignment, did Louisville, in terms of protecting against this onside kick. They've got 7 guys stacked over there.
And George Stripling is now in a single safety position. And they do try it.
It's a great kick.
Didn't work, though. Louisville recovers it.
Tight end Barnage came up with that one.
You don't mess around with the hands team. Everybody who can catch goes out there, dude. I don't think anybody, even your top receivers, go out there.
Yeah, you got to put them out there because you have to get this football. But this is a great kick. It's the old kick down on the ball and get the high pop up in the air, and you never know what can happen. You try and get up there and maybe tip it, hit the guy that's going for it, do whatever you can, scratch and claw to get the football. But Barnage does a nice job of staying on it and then using his body to protect himself when he makes the play.
They brought in Cody Sawhill, a specialist, to try that onside kick, and it didn't work. Now Louisville in position here with the clock running, coming up at the 11-minute mark. Rock Bolin has done very well at that tailback spot. He's listed as a fullback, but he has been sometimes a lone back. Brom wants it all right here. And excellent coverage that time by Kennard Cox.
Well, how about Bobby Petrino going for the jugular? Yeah. A little play action pass after recovering the onside kick. Everyone and their brother thought it was going to be a handoff to Bolin, and he kind of faked that and tried to catch him sleeping, but they did not. Nice play by Cox.
Well, there you see Brian Brown's numbers. Hard to complain.
Well, that's just the accuracy is what I'm talking about with him. Just 5 incompletions the first half, 3 in the second half, and he still is yet to be hit by the Pitt Panther defense.
He won't be on this play, but Colby Smith will be. He got virtually nowhere. Good play there by Clint Sessions. Let me ask you this. Of the senior quarterbacks that you've seen and that you know about, who do you think is best set up to go into the NFL right now?
Well, that's I guess the guy that comes to my mind right away is Tyler Palko, because he's here today and he's the guy I've been looking at, and I think he's going to go on and be a first-day selection, and I think he's got a chance to be an excellent quarterback. But somebody in the West Coast system is going to grab him up, because that's what he runs. It's the same offense that the Baltimore Ravens run, which Matt Cavanaugh ran when he was their offensive coordinator. So he's got a couple years in it already. I think he'll be a good one.
Underneath they go, and great tackle that time. Excellent play for Adam Gunn, the reserve redshirt sophomore from Vandergrift, Pennsylvania. He's had a couple of good plays in the second half. Brings up the 4th down, and a rare appearance by Corey Geschke. What about Brady Quinn, who we'll see tonight on ABC?
Yeah, there's another no-brainer. Brady Quinn is an outstanding football player, an NFL-type quarterback, and I think he'll do equally well.
So they go for the punt block. They do. Can't get it. And looks like did somebody actually deflect
he did get it? I think he did. I think the ball went off. It was more of the kicker, the punter kicked it into the hand of the block guy, as opposed to a great effort on the block. No, you know what? He just shanked it. Nobody touched him.
Well, let's take a look.
This is one of those shank you very much. Nobody near him.
Yep.
But it looked like a block the way that thing took off the side of his foot.
Well, that gets him a free session with his head coach. And it's a 5-yard punt. And you said it going into a break. Pitt isn't dead yet, but they're going to have to move very quickly. And they try right here. First down. So the Panthers get 11 yards on that play. Nate Harris on the stop.
This is another reason I like Palko, his ability to run the hurry-up offense. He knows where everybody's supposed to be. He gets things lined up, and then he makes good decisions on it.
This is where that Brady and Manning tape must really pay off. And again, just going safely underneath. It's Pestano on that one, and Abe Brown on the stop.
And the Louisville defense is willing to give Palko all the underneath stuff. The thing that they can't allow is the big play, the toss over top of their heads. So they got 2 safeties deep and all these guys across here in the intermediate.
The 3-step drop again. Here's Kinder, and he has the first down. Jackson on the stop for the Cardinals. Pitt has had a hard time scoring in the 4th quarter. Just 57 points compared to the 100 they put up in the first.
Yeah, in Louisville, they got that old dreaded prevent defense, which a lot of people think prevents you from running, but it's what you have to do here. You can't take the chance on letting them throw it over your head.
Yeah, that didn't work out very well for Palko at all. He basically threw that one straight into the ground. Nobody hit him, and nobody touched the pass that I could see. Well, another thing I've noticed, Ray, is these center snaps in the shotgun are all coming out low.
Yeah, and looping as well. And I'm not sure what the problem with that is, but you don't expect to see that consistently like we have here in this 4th quarter.
Joe Milani is the center, and he has put him down precariously low to skipping them. That's a good one. Nobody open. Picked up a couple on that play. It's going to bring up a critical 3rd down here. Okoye providing the pressure. That's not a surprise.
Yeah, Okoye ran a stunt there, looped around to the outside, and kind of figured he was away from the play, and then all of a sudden Palko ran right back into him.
They gave him only 1 yard, brings up 3rd down and 9. And not even that, really. It's almost 10.
And it looks like Louisville's going to be content to just rush 4. Well, they're kind of creeping around a little bit. They like to move around pre-snap and not give that quarterback a beat on what they're really going to do. They do come with the blitz.
It's picked up, though, pretty nicely by Collins, and there's Kinder with another fine catch, but very little yardage. Going to bring up 4th down and 6 as Harris there on the stop, a sure-handed tackle by the senior out of Miami.
You know, Dave, the thing about that blitz was it wasn't a man-to-man or a free safety in the middle type blitz. It was a zone blitz all the way. So, you know, you bring 5. They actually dropped the nose tackle, Okoye, back, and then he rushed on a delayed rush, but you still play zone behind that, so you're pretty well off in terms of getting beat one-on-one.
5th time they've gone for it on 4th down. They're really going for it all here. Kinder one-on-one, and it's intercepted.
What do? You got to knock that down.
Gavin Smart came away with a football.
But he wasn't very smart about what he did. That you knock it down so your football team has better field position.
They'll get it to the 20 instead of the 30-yard line. We'll be back. The interception for Gavin Smart, his 2nd on the season, but maybe he should have let this one go through his fingers. They can finish off the 7:51 left here. They will move a little bit closer, but they still need some help. They need West Virginia to beat Rutgers. And, of course, they need to beat Connecticut. Louisville does next Saturday. The West Virginia was dealt a crippling, not fatal, but crippling blow today with a loss to the University of South Florida. On the ground to Smith, who replaced Michael Bush, who was injured after the first game of the season. We know now more on Georgia Tech in Georgia. Here's Reese Davis.
Dave, the Dogs offense has done nothing all day against the Yellow Jackets. Inside 2 minutes to go, down 12-7. Matthews, Stafford, Muhammad, Massaquoi, touchdown Georgia. 2-point conversion has them up by 3, just over a minute to go.
Well, now, that would be considered an upset.
I would say so.
We had an interesting day. Florida State nearly upset Florida. They made the Gators play right down to the bitter end. We've had the South Florida win over West Virginia, and that one too. And for a while here, Pitt was looking really good. Blades in on that stop right there. And it'll bring up 3rd down. And of course, there's that big game tonight with Notre Dame and USC. Let's take a look at the BCS. Florida did win today. USC, Notre Dame. There's Louisville. Wisconsin was idle, but West Virginia, Arkansas, they're going to drop.
Right. Both of those lost. And I think it's USC's game right now. If they go on, they beat Notre Dame, they beat UCLA, then I think they're going to get that bid. Now, if they don't, then I think Michigan might sneak in there. You know, Florida still has a chance, but you know, a couple close wins. They haven't really been impressive. Arkansas might just knock them off, and that could. I'd love to see a rematch. I'd love to see Michigan, Ohio State again.
Down the middle, going to try to end the game right here with Douglas. It's a foot race, and they won't catch him. Touchdown for Louisville. 75 yards. Harry Douglas, his 4th touchdown on the year.
Oh, and again, Braun with all the time in the world, just throwing a perfect strike down the field. And didn't like what I saw at the end of that, though. Kennard Cox needs to finish that play. That's an embarrassment.
Yeah, he did not run that play out. You're right. I'm sure he'll hear about it from his defensive coaches and maybe even from Dave Wanstead.
I'm sure he will. You know, I don't mind Douglas trotting it in, but the thing, he shouldn't be allowed to trot in, and that's got to come from Cox chasing him all the way down.
PAT is tacked on. Louisville has doubled the score.
Take a look at this thing from way up in the rafters. Here's your matchup right here, and it's just a go route to the middle of the field. You're going to see Cox. He's up there in that press coverage, but he doesn't really alter the route. And if you don't alter the route, there's no sense in being in press coverage, because then it's a foot race, and you've got your back. You're starting out backwards, and you're not going to win that one very often. So you got to be more powerful with the punch of the hands to disrupt the route. If you don't do that, you're going to lose the foot race.
Now, my question would be, where were the safeties? Obviously, what kind of coverage did they have there that left the middle of the field so open?
Cover 0. It means there's 0 men in the middle.
Well, here's Brom on his pass yard so far. That got fattened up with that down the middle completion.
Yeah, right there, the home run ball down the middle. But you look at it, these numbers all over the place are pretty good for Brian Brohm, an outstanding day, just 8 incompletions, 337 yards, 4 touchdowns. Don't get much better than that.
He is the all-time pass percentage leader at Louisville, and he hasn't done anything to hurt that today. Robinson and Porter back deep. And those two, Urrutia and Douglas, have just been monsters for the Cardinals today.
And they came in as number 1 and number 2 in the Big East in receiving yards per game, and they didn't let that down.
Trying to work his way through. Robinson not giving up, but he's going to be gang tackled finally. Let's get another update on that Georgia Tech fun from Reese.
Dave, Reggie Ball has just had a miserable 4 years against Georgia. A fitting conclusion, it would appear, to his 4 years of futility against the Dogs. Throwing an interception to Paul Oliver. Frustration for the Jackets, but remember, they'll still play for the ACC championship next week. A minute to go, just under that for Georgia to hang on for the 3-point win.
Of course, we don't know who they're going to play. That'll be decided on ESPN with Wake Forest versus Maryland. 7:45 Eastern.
Never would have thought that game would be for those stakes.
No, that's an amazing story in college football this season. Little question about that. And if you want to watch that, I don't think you have to even touch the old dial. 7:45. Does anyone have a dial on a TV anymore?
I haven't seen one in a while.
Wake Forest continues to fight for the ACC Atlantic Division title. It's Ralph Friedgen's Maryland team, Jim Groves, and the Wake Forest team in Deacons. Primetime, part of Rivalry Week, presented by Remington on ESPN tonight, 7:45, and available in high def. And that's a first down for Pitt on ESPN HD. And Tyler Palko, he's not going to fight this, stop fighting, I should say. This is it for him at Pitt. There's a chance for the Panthers to get a bowl game, but it's 6-6. Not sure if they're going to make it with 5 straight losses. That's really going to weigh heavily on the minds of the blazer-wearing bowl men, who are, some of them are here today. Nice toss. That's Pistano. And he is going to be ground out of bounds by Gavin Smart. Well, what do you like for a player of the game here? What do you think? Any one in particular?
There's several guys that I like. I think Brahms had an outstanding game. Urrutia, Douglas. You know, I think there's a lot of guys that are worthy. Even Palko played pretty well. If you count the first half, HB Blades played outstanding at the beginning, but I'm not going to pick any one of those.
All right, he'll think about that for just a little bit. There you see that field, a little bit of the factor that time on Stevens Howling. As Harris, he's had a very solid game, called his name quite a bit in the second half.
And you want to make sure your guys keep fighting, and I know that's important to Dave Wannstedt, even though this might be the last game. They may not get to a bowl game, but you got to develop in your program that you will fight to the end regardless of the circumstances.
Plenty of time for Palko, and he hits the, it's dropped. Great chance there for O'Derrick Turner, and he just couldn't hang on. Maybe lost the concentration just for a moment. Probably very hard to concentrate right now. Well, it is our Cooper Tires players of the game, Mr. Bentley?
Yes, I'm going with the offensive line for Louisville. The outstanding today. Brian Brohm not hit once during the entire contest. So Renardo Foster, Kurt Quarterman, Eric Wood, Donnie Barlow, and George Bussey. Congratulations, they're my player of the game.
And Okoye prevents a first down from happening by just sticking his big body in front of the runner. So now it's 4th and short. This 6th time today the Panthers have gone for it on 4th down.
Now that offensive line, Dave, also paved the way for 143 yards rushing today.
This play never got off the ground. We mentioned at the start of the broadcast how potent Louisville is on offense, and everybody knows it.
Yeah, but it all.
Prior to snap. False start on the offense. Number 75. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
That all starts up front. You can have all the playmakers you want, but if you don't have people knocking other people out of the way and protecting your quarterback, it's not going to get done. And that Louisville offensive line has been outstanding today. They've taken care of everything.
They've had 11 pass plays of over 40 yards this season. Well, they can add on some more of that today. 11 runs of over 25 yards. 13 games under Bobby Petrino of over 50 points, which they still have an outside chance of getting at today. That was a good throw by Palko. That's about as good as you could have put that ball in there, but fine coverage that time against Pistano. And looks like Latarius Thomas came in there to knock it loose. You hear a little bit of noise in the stadium. That's from one section of those in red and black celebrating what now certainly appears to be a win for their 8th-ranked Louisville Cardinals.
And Louisville, you know, they look back on things. They had a 25-7 lead over Rutgers.
Yeah.
And they really had control of that ball game. And then they went and they fumbled it a couple of times and they couldn't get it going in the second half. That's the one that they're always going to go look back on and say woulda, shoulda, coulda.
Brian Brom's day is over. Hunter Cantwell, who played 2 starts for Brom after the thumb surgery in September, is in there now. Cantwell also started the Gator Bowl last year versus Virginia Tech and did very well. Well, let's see how this game impacts the Big East standings. Rutgers and Louisville. Louisville will be 5-1 and go to 10-1 overall. But the season is not over for the Cardinals. They play UConn while Rutgers goes to Morgantown. And that's the game that everyone from Louisville is going to be watching, because if West Virginia scores the win over Rutgers and Louisville can beat UConn, Louisville goes to the BCS representing #1 in the Big East.
All right, so it's coming down to the very wire, the last game of the year to determine the Big East champion. And it's going to be interesting to see how it turns out, because that game's a toss-up to me. I think even West Virginia might even be favored in that ball game against Rutgers.
Yeah, at home, that's going to be tough. Sergio Spencer getting some carries at running back now. You see Hunter Cantwell.
In fact, I'd be very surprised if Rutgers would be able to beat West Virginia myself. And that's going to put these Louisville Cardinals into a BCS Bowl.
Brian Brom's numbers on the day. I know his brother, the quarterback's coach,
I guess
Jeff Brom.
He did have a little dirt on the jersey there on the back.
I think somebody must have touched him on his own team. Maybe he brushed against somebody in a huddle or something. I was going to say Jeff Brom is quarterback's coach, and his older brother's pretty tough on him, but I'll bet Jeff eases up on the gas a little bit, at least tonight, until film study.
Yeah, and it's a fine line when your brother's the coach. It's a little different because your brother's before your coach and player, and so brothers can do things and say things to each other that other people can't.
You sound like a man with some experience.
I've got a couple brothers, and they've said them to me. Not that I would say them to them.
No, not you. No way. Getchie will punt. His last punt went 5 yards and almost earned him a timeout with Bobby Petrino. This one's a lot better. Rivas, a punt return for a touchdown earlier this year, and he just ran out of room. Picked up about 10 on the return following a 48-yard punt. And Scott Kuhn on the stop for Louisville.
A lot of smiles and laughter over there on that Cardinal sideline. Came in a potential trap game. Pitt has played well throughout the early part of the season. They have an offense that's able to move up and down the field. But they avoided that trap, and they're set up in a position where they want to be.
What about the future for this program? Dave Wanstead told us the other day, out of the 1, 2, 3, and 4A classifications, who all played here yesterday for their championships, Dave has the 1A, 3A, and 4A Player of the Year all coming to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, and I think Pittsburgh is a program that's on the rise, in my opinion. I think Dave Wanstead has a lot of things in place. I think he's an excellent recruiter. I think great coaching staff and all those things. They've got things lined up, and he's excited about it, rightly so. They've had a couple of good recruiting classes that they put together. He's excited about the upcoming one, and he thinks that they're on the build.
Oh, Tyler Palco's last play, perhaps, as the Pitt quarterback, he just got belted from behind by Malik Jackson and shaken up. Hopefully he will be all right. This one is over. It is a win for Bobby Petrino's Louisville team, taking a big step toward a Big East championship with their 10th victory on the season, as they knock off the Pittsburgh Panthers 48-24. That's our final score. This has been a presentation of ESPN. The worldwide leader in sports is Bobby Petrino and Dave Wanstead.